The baby, Lin Zichen, has transmigrated into this new world, retaining the consciousness of an adult despite his undeveloped brain. And as he feeds, floating green text appears above his head indicating an increase in energy. This is not a normal rebirth. A blue holographic interface materializes before his infant eyes, displaying his status. Name Lin Zichen, age 33 days, bio-level ordinary rank 1, identifying his possession of a golden cheat system. Time progresses rapidly as the seasons change, and at 3 months old, Lin Zichen is already exhibiting unnatural behavior, lying in his crib with a contemplative expression while his parents, Lin Yansheng and Zhang Wangxin, marvel at his calm demeanor, his father adjusting his glasses and jokingly predicting a future as a gene fuser or cyborg. The system rewards his subtle movements. A notification pops up granting him a reward for kicking 10,000 times, unlocking a new bio-attribute, and teasing the limitless potential of training the same body part. Lin Zichen, lying in his crib, reflects on his completion of the first system task, feeling his strength inching upward with the use it or lose it mechanic. His imagination runs wild as he ponders what gene fusers and cyborgs are, visualizing fantastical scenarios of superheroes like Spider-Man and Iron Man to contextualize this strange new reality. By 4 months, the interface shows his progression, and the setting shifts to the quiet living room at night where the infant protagonist secretly trains while his parents sleep. He pushes his tiny body to the limit, crawling and sitting to boost his vitality and coordination. The blue text confirming his stat increases with every movement. At 5 months, he is already walking, a feat that defies normal human development, his determination burning in his large, expressive eyes as he stumbles across the floor to gain walking proficiency. By 6 months, he sits on the couch between his parents, watching the news to gather intelligence on the world, his face a mask of feigned innocence, while his mind processes the geopolitical situation. The television displays a breaking news report about gene fusers and cyborgs joining forces to fight beasts, showing footage of armored warriors and hulking monsters clashing, revealing the dark truth that this Earth has mutated and is under constant threat from terrifying creatures. The screen flashes images of a hellish landscape filled with demons and tentacles, confirming the existence of the beasts that humanity fights. The narration explains humanity's 2 paths to survival: mechanical ascension, depicted by a silver-haired cyborg with glowing blue energy and heavy artillery, and genetic fusion, shown as a shirtless warrior surrounded by flames, merging beast genes to wield magic-like power. Lin Zichen realizes his advantage lies in his system, resolving to grow steadily in secret to survive this dangerous world, clenching his small fist in determination. The scene transitions to a neighborly visit. A woman named Zhu Meng introduces herself and her daughter, Shen Qinghen, to Lin Zichen's mother at the doorway. This meeting marks the beginning of a fateful relationship, as the 2 mothers chat while holding their babies, with Lin Zichen looking at the purple-haired Shen Qinghen, unaware that she will become his first friend. Time flies, and at 7 months, Lin Zichen is shown jumping in his crib, the system rewarding him with leg strength and jumping technique. He climbs furniture and runs around the room, his agility far surpassing a normal toddler, causing a ruckus that he barely manages to hide. By 8 months, he's doing sit-ups in his crib, sweating profusely as he grinds out stats for core strength, his face serious and focused. However, his secret training is nearly exposed when his mother walks in unexpectedly, catching him mid-sit-up, leaving her rubbing her eyes in disbelief, questioning if she is hallucinating from working too hard on her novels. To cover his tracks, Lin Zichen feigns sleep immediately, leaving his mother confused and relieved that it might have been a trick of the light. A few days later, a comical scene erupts in the bathroom as his father discovers the 8-month-old baby has a six-pack. Shouting for his wife to come see the huge development, his father holds him up in the bath, staring in shock at the muscular definition on the infant's stomach, while Lin Zichen looks away innocently, holding a rubber duck. His father, an author, immediately jumps to the conclusion that his son is a once-in-a-lifetime prodigy, eyes shining with the realization of his son's potential. They speculate about his future, wondering if he will become a powerful gene fuser, while Lin Zichen thinks to himself that having novelists for parents is lucky, because they have active imaginations that justify his abnormalities. The narrative shifts to the wider world, showing a news report about a prodigy in Kyoto who can lift a 20 kg dumbbell one-handed at 2 years old, setting a benchmark for Lin Zichen. Lin Zichen's mother, competitive and proud, declares that her son won't lose to these so-called prodigy clans, stroking his head while he looks up with determination. At age 2, Lin Zichen stands in a storage room, easily hoisting a massive container labeled 20 kg over his head with one hand, proving he has already surpassed the Kyoto prodigy. His childhood friend, Shen Qinghen, now a toddler with pigtails, comes over to play, offering him a tart, which he accepts, their bond growing as they spend time together. While Qinghen sleeps during their playdates, Lin Zichen uses the time to do push-ups with her on his back, using her as a weighted training accessory, showcasing his relentless drive. A humorous mishap occurs when Qinghen wets herself while on his back, leaving Lin Zichen distressed and calling for his mother. By age 3, Lin Zichen is lifting a 40 kg container one-handed, his strength growing exponentially as he continues to shatter human limits. He watches the news again, seeing the Kyoto prodigy struggling with 30 kg and smirks, knowing he is far ahead. Despite his stats being at ordinary rank 1, he wonders what lies beyond human limits, stepping outside for the first time to see the world with his own eyes. He walks down the street with Qinghen and their mothers, observing beastmen and cyborgs integrated into society, marveling at the mutated world. They visit a library, where Lin Zichen bypasses the children's section to read advanced books on biology and the history of the mutated Earth, leaving the mothers confused but impressed. The books reveal the power structure of the world, divided into 9 bio-levels, with ordinary humans at the bottom and godlike beings at the top. He realizes he must speed up his growth to survive, and the system grants him a new mission to train both brain and brawn, unlocking heavenly insight, which allows him to memorize and comprehend information instantly. At 4 years old, he begins kindergarten, walking hand in hand with Qinghen, looking like a miniature scholar while the other kids cry. His physical stats have now reached ordinary rank 2, allowing him to lift 80 kg one-handed and sprint 100 meters in under 11 seconds, rivaling adult athletes. In kindergarten, bullying occurs when a group of kids mocks Qinghen for being a bedwetter, surrounding her while she cries. Lin Zichen steps in, his eyes glowing with a terrifying aura as he unleashes a domineering presence that strikes fear into the bullies, kicking a desk and sending it flying to demonstrate his power. The sheer force of his glare and the physical display traumatizes the bullies, who run away screaming, earning him the title Kindergarten Boss and completing a hidden quest. The system notifies him of the achievement, and he stands amidst the classroom, a small tyrant in a school uniform, realizing that quests can run in parallel. Time passes, and they graduate kindergarten, with a commemorative photo showing Lin Zichen looking bored while Qinghen stands closely beside him. During the vacation before elementary school, he pushes his training further, lifting a massive 200 kg barbell, his muscles straining against the weight. He clocks his 100-meter dash at 7.98 seconds, a superhuman feat for a child. He enters Sunshine Elementary, determined to unlock the elementary school top dog title, dominating academic competitions and sports events alike. He wins gold trophies in math and tutors Qinghen, who struggles academically but works hard, eventually ranking second in class behind him. A new transfer student, Bai Zhu, arrives, a beautiful girl with long white hair and a mysterious aura that Lin Zichen senses is not fully human. Bai Zhu is quiet and isolated, but soon, strange rumors begin to spread about a foul smell coming from her, and white liquid is seen dripping from her desk. The bullying begins, with classmates accusing her of being filthy, throwing water on her and mocking her tears. Qinghen asks Lin Zichen to help, and he agrees, stepping in with a dark, menacing expression that freezes the bullies in their tracks. He forces the ringleader, a boy named Guan Chun, to wipe Bai Zhu's desk, using his physical superiority and reputation to terrify him into submission. He commands the class to apologize, and they do so in unison, terrified of the junior high tyrant in the making. Bai Zhu thanks them, her eyes red from crying, and Qinghen actively befriends her, sharing food and pulling her into their circle. Bai Zhu eventually opens up, asking if they dislike her smell, to which Qinghen assures her they will be friends forever, creating a touching moment of bonding. Bai Zhu gives them each a beast fang as a token of friendship, claiming they were a gift from her mother, and the three pledge eternal friendship under the setting sun. However, the happiness is short-lived as Bai Zhu suddenly transfers schools, her paperwork processed by a mysterious man in a suit and sunglasses, leaving Lin Zichen suspicious about her true identity. Life moves on, and Lin Zichen focuses back on his training and his mother's novel writing, using his massage techniques to help her relax. The news reports on the Kyoto prodigy again, now 10 years old and fused with beast genes, lifting 1,000 jin, 500 kg, prompting Lin Zichen's parents to discuss the ethics of gene fusion on children. Lin Zichen calculates that even without gene fusion, his strength is superior, but he is humbled by a breaking news report of a devastating beast attack in a neighboring country. Footage shows a giant mutant rat destroying buildings and devouring people, a stark reminder of the world's brutality. The government confirms the attack was orchestrated by a cult, and Lin Zichen is grateful for his country's stability. One night, a sonic boom shakes his window, and he sees a squad of government cyborgs flying past, heading towards a disturbance. The next day, walking to school with Kinghen, her beast fang necklace begins to glow, pulsing with a blue light. Lin Zichen realizes the fang is reacting to a non-human aura nearby, just as a tall, red-haired woman with a voluptuous figure and a dangerous vibe approaches them. She feigns friendliness, asking if they are siblings, but her eyes betray a predatory intent as she comments on their cuteness. Lin Zichen, sensing danger, grabs Kinghen's hand and tries to leave, telling her not to answer strangers. The woman follows them into a quiet alley scheduled for demolition, revealing her true colors as a kidnapper/human trafficker, signaling her large, muscular accomplice to grab the kids. The thug reaches for them, but Lin Zichen reacts instantly, unleashing a powerful punch that sends the grown man flying into a wall, shocking the woman. The woman attacks, but Lin Zichen dodges and counters with a strike to her stomach that crumples her, his speed and strength far exceeding that of a child. He prepares to finish them off to protect his secret, picking up a brick with cold calculation. Suddenly, the ground erupts, and a giant mutant rat, the same kind from the news, bursts through the pavement, towering over them with razor-sharp claws. The rat creates chaos, and Lin Zichen grabs Kinghen, carrying her princess style as he sprints away from the monster, his speed saving them from being devoured. A golden-armored cyborg woman descends from the sky, engaging the rat in high-speed combat, using energy blasts and anesthetic smoke to subdue the beast. The battle is fierce, destroying the alley, but the cyborg eventually kills the rat, leaving Lin Zichen to watch from the shadows, analyzing the power level of the adults. The incident motivates him to train even harder. He is seen doing weighted squats with massive plates, sweating as he pushes his biological limits. They celebrate their 9th birthday, exchanging gifts, with Lin Zichen carving a wooden hairpin for Kinghen. They graduate elementary school, and Lin Zichen unlocks the conquered 9 years of compulsory education achievement. During the summer break, he does 1,000 weighted push-ups daily, his biological grade breaking through to common rank 3, granting him superhuman stats. 700 kg lift, 4m vertical jump, and a 6-second 100m sprint. He compares himself to the Kyoto prodigy, who now lifts 2,000 kg with ant genes, realizing that gene fusion offers a massive multiplier, making him eager to evolve. Middle school begins, and Lin Zichen is recruited by Shanghai Middle School, accepting on the condition that Kinghen is in his class. On the first day, he slips away from the principal's speech to play badminton with Kinghen, but they are interrupted by upperclassmen claiming the court. Lin Zichen steps up to defend Kinghen, challenging the older boys. He serves the shuttlecock, throwing it into the air and striking it with such devastating force that the racket warps and the shuttlecock becomes a blurring projectile. The impact is so fast the upperclassmen can't even react, their faces contorted in shock and fear as the shuttlecock whizzes past, embedding itself in the ground or fence. They bow and apologize profusely, terrified of his monstrous strength. Middle school passes quickly, with Lin Zichen dominating academics and sports, winning gold medals in physics, chemistry, and math. He ignores the swarm of fangirls, focusing solely on training and tutoring Kinghen. At the school sports meet, he signs up for shot put, high jump, and sprinting, aiming to dominate completely to unlock the junior high tyrant title. He crushes the competition, jumping effortlessly over the high bar and sprinting like a blur, feeling a surge of power awaken within him as he secures victory. The system finally grants him the title and a new biological attribute. Lore of the Jungle. Walking home, he asks to see Kinghen's beast fang again, and upon touching it, the system identifies it as a butterfly's tooth containing life essence. He realizes he can devour the essence to evolve. Back in his room, he searches online for abyssal butterfly but finds nothing, realizing it's a rare or classified beast. He holds the fang, and the system absorbs a trace of essence, giving him 2% progress towards the abyssal butterfly bestiary. Needing more essence to fully unlock the potential, he decides to test a theory about beast meat. He bikes to school with Kinghin, where the martial arts teacher, Teacher Guo, eagerly recruits him for the team due to his athletic performance. Lin Zichin is polite but distracted, his mind on the experiment. Later, he kills a cockroach and a mosquito, but gains no essence, concluding that only strong beasts provide it. He heads to a downtown market with Kinghin to find beast meat. The market is bustling, and he locates a butcher shop selling fresh beast meat. He asks Kinghin to wait and approaches the meat, touching it to confirm his suspicion. A jolt of electricity runs through him as the system confirms the meat contains life essence. Excited, he decides to buy some ghost squid, despite the exorbitant price of 2,994 yuan, shocking Kinghin. He justifies it by saying his mom wanted to cook a feast for both families. They buy the meat and head home under the night sky. In the privacy of his room/kitchen, he prepares to absorb the essence directly, worrying that cooking might spoil it. He touches the massive purple tentacle of the ghost squid, and the system activates, dark purple energy swirling around his hand as he devours the ghost squid's life essence. His eyes glow with power, and a spectral image of the squid appears behind him as the progress bar for the ghost squid bestiary ticks up to 0. 1%, marking the beginning of his true infinite evolution. A digital tarot card glowing with a blue hue depicting a seated figure amidst nature, signaling the beginning of the infinite evolution from Zero saga. As the scene shifts to an elegant, silver-haired woman in a white dress playing a grand piano in a dimly lit, luxurious room, her fingers dancing over the keys, while moonlight streams through a large window. The narrative immediately grounds itself in the mundane yet vibrant streets of the city, where Lin Zichin, a young man with messy teal hair and a sharp jawline, pedals a bicycle with a focused expression, transporting a young girl with pink twin tails, Shen Kinghin, who sits demurely on the back. Zichin's mind is occupied with complex calculations regarding his cultivation progress, specifically the consumption of ghost squid meat, as he realizes that devouring just 1 or 2 tails only unlocked a microscopic 0.1% of the guidebook, leading him to the daunting conclusion that he would need to devour 100 jins to reach completion, a feat that would cost a staggering 100,000 yuan. As he pedals through the urban landscape, the weight of this financial burden presses on him, the calculations floating in bubbles around his head, emphasizing that obtaining the power to dissolve into water and vanish like the ghost squid is a costly endeavor. The visualization of his goal is vivid in his mind. A monstrous, purple, multi-eyed squid lurking in the depths of the ocean, surrounded by smaller aquatic life, representing the ghost squid's ability he so desperately covets. Zichin gritted his teeth, his expression serious as he grips the handlebars, acknowledging that despite the cost, this is already the cheapest beast meat available to him, and he must find a way to generate income without burdening his family. He resolves to make money, his eyes narrowing with determination as he coasts past a storefront with an open sign, deciding that asking his parents for such a huge sum is out of the question. Suddenly, a thought strikes him, his eyes widening in realization as he remembers he bought the meat specifically to test if absorbing its life essence would cause it to spoil, a crucial experiment for his future plans. He glances down at the bicycle basket where a plastic bag rests, the contents radiating a faint, magical shimmer, indicating that enough time has passed for a result to manifest. Inside the bag, the purple, tentacled chunk of ghost squid meat glows with an intense, starry light, indicating the presence of active energy, confirming his suspicions about the life essence. Zichin smiles confidently, noting the progress bar for the ghost squid is at 3%, and is relieved to find that absorbing the essence hasn't ruined the physical meat, meaning he can essentially double dip by absorbing the essence and then eating the protein. He reaches his hand into the basket, blue sparks of energy crackling around his fingers as he interacts with the mystical flesh. His concentration is abruptly broken by Shen Kinghin, who calls out, "Zio Chen, careful. Someone's ahead." Her expression panicked as she points forward. The front wheel of the bike jerks violently as Zichin slams on the brakes, creating a screeching sound and a cloud of dust. He stops just inches from a pedestrian, a man in a blue shirt who looks startled, while Zichin awkwardly apologizes, rubbing the back of his head, admitting he was too focused on absorbing life essence to watch the road. The bike lane is unusually crowded, filled with onlookers and parked bicycles, creating a chaotic bottleneck that forces Zichin to stop completely. He looks around, confused by the congestion, wondering why the bike lane is so packed, while scratching his head in bewilderment. Shen Qinghan taps his shoulder and points toward a commotion in the distance, directing his attention to a terrifying scene unfolding on the sidewalk. A muscular, red-headed thug has taken a woman hostage, holding a sharp knife to her throat. Zichen immediately recognizes the victim as teacher Cao Mei, who looks terrified as the thug threatens to kill her if anyone steps closer. The thug is massive, his veins bulging, using the teacher as a human shield while police officers with riot shields and batons surround them, maintaining a tense standoff. A handsome, bearded police captain attempts to de-escalate the situation, ordering his men not to shoot recklessly because the target is skilled, and using the hostage effectively, making a clean shot impossible. A subordinate suggests using sleeping gas, whispering the idea to the captain while keeping his hand on his holster. The captain, whose face is stern and calculating, rejects the idea immediately, arguing that sleeping gas is too obvious and slow, risking provoking the suspect into doing something extreme before it takes effect. The captain's eyes narrow as he assesses the situation, the tension palpable in the air. Meanwhile, unnoticed by the police, Zichen quietly picks up a jagged rock from the pavement, his expression shadowed and serious as he weighs the stone in his hand. In a blur of motion, he launches the rock with terrifying velocity, the sound effect whoosh tearing through the air. The rock flies past the police captain's shocked face, a streak of gray against the blue uniform. It travels with the precision of a bullet, the motion lines emphasizing its speed and trajectory. The rock smashes directly into the thug's hand holding the knife, causing him to scream in pain as the weapon flies out of his grasp, freeing teacher Cao Mei from the immediate threat. The knife clatters uselessly to the ground as the thug recoils, clutching his injured hand, leaving an opening for the police. Now's the time. The captain shouts, and the officers, bathed in a purple aura of adrenaline and action, charge forward to subdue the criminal. The officers tackle the thug, pinning him to the ground while teacher Cao Mei is pulled to safety by a female officer, the scene chaotic but controlled. In the shadows, Shen Qinghan whispers to Zichen, asking if he threw the rock, to which he shushes her, urging her to leave quickly before they get involved. They attempt to walk away casually, Zichen pushing his bike while snacking on a lollipop, trying to look innocent. However, a commanding voice shouts, "Stop right there," halting them in their tracks. The police captain stands amidst the crowd, looking directly at Zichen, asking if he was the student who threw the rock. Zichen freezes, sweating profusely, his face a mask of exaggerated panic as Shen Qinghan looks at him with concern. He immediately denies it, waving his hands frantically, a comical sweat drop flying from his head, claiming, "No, not me," with a forced smile. He tries to play it off, acting like a harmless bystander. The captain turns his back, looking at the sky, musing aloud about how weird it is that someone wouldn't admit to a good deed. He glances back over his massive shoulder, mentioning casually that there is a monetary reward for bravery. The word reward strikes Zichen like a bolt of lightning, illustrated by a giant gold Chinese character crushing him visually. His expression transforms instantly from denial to intense greed/shock. He spins around with supernatural speed, leaving a dust cloud behind him. He grabs the captain's hand, sliding on his knees, his demeanor completely flipped. "I just remembered something. Yeah, I threw the rock. I didn't want to lie, but the money is really important to me." He confesses shamelessly, contrasting his previous denial. The captain, looking amused, invites him to the station to make a report and apply for the reward, while Hanhan looks on in the background. Zichen narrates that he and Hanhan informed their families and went to the station, expecting a simple process to receive his first income as the brave one. The scene shifts to the police escorting the handcuffed thug towards a van, the atmosphere seemingly calm. However, the thug, head bowed, begins to emit a dark, ominous aura, his muscles twitching violently. Something went wrong. Zichen narrates as the thug's eyes snap open, glowing with a demonic light. The thug roars, his face distorting, veins turning black, his teeth sharpening into fangs. A massive burst of purple energy explodes from him, accompanied by the sound character for crushing. "Crap, he's a heretic!" An officer screams as the thug transforms into a giant, werewolf-like mutant rat monster, tearing out of his clothes. The creature towers over the officers, its skin turning gray and furred, showing signs of extreme mutation. With a swipe of its massive tail, it sends officers flying, the sheer force cracking the pavement. The rat monster lunges, its claws tearing through the police cordon, causing chaos. The captain orders all forces to open fire, but to prioritize protecting civilians, his face grim as he speaks into his radio. A barrage of gunfire erupts, bullets pinging off the monster's hide as it rampages through the street, identified now as a giant mutant rat fused with the Rat King genes. The bullets are ineffective, and the police request backup, realizing they are outmatched. Damn it, the captain curses, realizing the severity of the situation. Suddenly, a high-heeled shoe steps firmly into the frame, followed by the appearance of a buxom woman in a red and white uniform, clutching her side. Teacher Kaume grabs Zichin and Hanhin, shouting that escaping is more important than watching. She drags them away, running frantically down the street while the battle rages in the background. As they flee, a streak of red light descends from the sky, accompanied by a sharp sound. A figure in a sleek, futuristic combat suit slams into the ground, creating a shockwave that knocks everyone off balance. Zichin looks up in awe, exclaiming, "A cyborg," as the dust settles to reveal a female warrior clad in blue and white mechanical armor, glowing with energy. The cyborg engages the Rat King immediately, moving with blinding speed, delivering a powerful energy-enhanced punch to the monster's jaw. The impact is massive, distorting the monster's face. She follows up with a series of rapid attacks, driving the beast back into a building, causing debris to fly everywhere. The cyborg stands her ground, her chest armor opening to reveal a glowing core charging a laser cannon. "Fire!" she commands, unleashing a massive beam of blue energy that engulfs the Rat King completely. The beam pierces the monster, disintegrating the surroundings and creating a blinding pillar of light. As the light fades, the charred remains of the monster are visible, smoke rising from the carcass. Zichin, watching from a distance, is stunned by the power display. He checks his bike, relieved it wasn't hit, prioritizing his property over the supernatural event, noting that he needs the money badly. As they walk away, Zichin suddenly realizes something terrible and stops in his tracks. He looks into his basket. The ghost Chado squid meat is smoking, completely cooked by the intense heat of the cyborg's laser attack. He picks up a tentacle, dismayed, realizing the life essence absorption doesn't spoil the meat, but being roasted by a laser certainly cooks it. He laments that he needs an excuse for why the meat went bad, deciding to blame the heretic's transformation and the cyborg's attack. Later, inside a police van, Zichin sits with Hanhin, the cooked tentacle still hanging from the basket, while he narrates that they were taken to the station for statements. The smell of the scorched Rat King corpse outside is intense, wafting into the van. A light bulb goes off in Zichin's head. If the squid meat still had life essence, could the charred Rat King corpse also contain absorbable genes? His eyes glow with a predatory curiosity as he gazes out the window at the remains. He sneaks out of the van and approaches the corpse, checking to see if anyone is watching. With a swift motion, he places his hand on the scorched flesh of the monster. A red, demonic energy swirls around his hand, flowing from the carcass into his body. Zichin's eyes widen as a system notification appears. "You have devoured a trace of the giant mutant rat's life essence. Giant mutant rat guidebook, 5%. A crimson avatar of the Rat King manifests behind him, absorbing into his being. He realizes that the freshness of the corpse dictates the amount of essence, and since this one was freshly killed, the yield is high. He rushes back to the van just as the officer tells him to sit still, acting innocent. Inside the station later, the captain questions him about the rock throw, skeptical that a middle schooler could be so precise in poor lighting. Zichin awkwardly flexes his right arm, claiming he trains his right hand often, a dubious excuse that leaves the captain speechless. The captain stares at him in silence, clearly not buying it but letting it slide. Suddenly the door bursts open and a woman with long teal hair and glasses rushes in. It's Zichin's mother. She screams, "Zio Chen," and runs towards him. She is tall, wearing office attire, and looks frantic. She hugs him tightly, burying his face in her chest, exclaiming he scared her half to death. Zichin, muffled, tries to reassure her that he's fine and even got a reward. She pulls back, looking concerned, telling him to hide next time there is danger. Zichin promises to protect himself first, looking at his mother with a soft expression. The scene shifts to the hallway where female officers discuss the rat god cult, becoming more brazen, infiltrating universities and brainwashing students who can't obtain gene fusion qualifications. Zichin overhears this, his expression darkening as he learns the thug was a liberal arts student brainwashed by the cult. He walks away, pondering the term Rat King and the cult's influence. In the car ride home, he checks his phone, finding tons of info on the Rat God cult online. The cult is comprised of societal outcasts, and they worship a rat king that wants to evolve into a higher life form. He wonders if the giant rat he saw was related to this rat king entity. In the backseat, Zichin notices Hanhin is unusually quiet, trembling slightly. He realizes she gets nervous like this whenever she is startled, a habit from childhood. Looking out the window, he sees a regular rat scurrying down the street, wondering if even normal animals are linked to this potential threat. Suddenly, his mother screams from the front seat, "What? The meat is gone." She looks horrified, thinking the expensive squid meat was lost. Zichin quickly lies, saying he dropped it during the emergency. His mother sighs in relief that he is safe, saying the meat doesn't matter, but Zichin wipes sweat from his forehead, glad he fooled her. At home, Zichin warns his dad about the danger outside, but his dad, a bespectacled man in a polo shirt, brushes it off, calling himself a fated wage slave, tough as nails. Zichin tries to argue, but his dad questions how he would know about the meat being spoiled if he dropped it, catching Zichin in a lie. Zichin stammers that he just guessed. Meanwhile, back at the police station, the captain smokes a cigarette, still puzzled by how a middle schooler could throw a rock with such power. Suddenly, a massive shadow looms behind him. A giant rat, even larger than the previous one, emerges from the shadows of the office archives. The captain turns, shocked, drawing his gun. The rat lunges, its claws tearing through the air, leaving deep gouges in the wall as the screen fades to black. The next day, the scene brightens to a school setting. Shen Qinghan is posing for a photo, looking cheerful, while Zichin sighs, looking out the window of his classroom. He reflects on the previous night, realizing he is still too weak compared to the Rat Man and the Cyborg. He needs to make money fast to fill the Ghost Squid's progress bar. He considers becoming a top student influencer or selling study materials, but dismisses it as too slow. He rejects the idea of being flashy. Then it hits him. In a world full of gene fusion users, martial arts skill trumps academics and tournament prizes are huge. An image of a warrior fighting an insectoid monster fills his mind. He decides to join the school's martial arts team. He enters the gymnasium holding a soda can and approaches Coach Guo, a burly man with a buzz cut. Zichin asks directly if the prizes for city tournaments are high. The coach confirms they are worth tens of thousands. Zichin instantly pledges his loyalty. "Coach, I've made up my mind. Starting today, I'm officially part of the martial arts team." The coach welcomes him and gathers the team. He introduces Zichin as the Grand Slam champion of the school sports meet. The team consists of several students in blue tracksuits: Zhang Kai, Wang Tianxing, Lai Shudong, and Han Yisuo. Since Zichin has never trained, Coach Guo demonstrates basic fist and leg techniques, performing a high kick and a punch with fluid motion. He explains that while it looks simple, it took little Lai a full week to master. He tells Zichin to give it a try. Zichin steps up, takes a breath, and executes the move perfectly, his body surrounded by a blue aura of heaven-sent martial insight. The system interface pops up. "You are practicing fist technique. Vitality +1, hand muscle strength +1, hand dexterity +1, fist technique proficiency +1. Zichin moves through the forms with blinding speed and precision, his limbs leaving afterimages. The coach crushes his soda can in shock, screaming, "Impossible! Absolutely impossible!" The other students drop their jaws, wondering how he learned it in one look. The coach realizes Zichin is a once-in-a-million martial arts prodigy. That evening, Zichin is at home. His mother calls him for dinner. He rushes to the kitchen, smelling the aroma of the Ghost squid. His mother presents a plate of reddish, cooked squid meat. Zichin drools, exclaiming it smells amazing. He digs in, praising his mother's cooking. His mother jokingly tells him to eat a full 3 gins since he bought so much. As he eats, a system notification ding sounds. "You have devoured a trace of the Ghost squid's life essence. Ghost squid guidebook 301%. Zichin is thrilled, realizing that eating the cooked meat directly also works, saving him the trouble of touching raw meat. Later, the news reports on the genius girl who fused with an energy core at 14, becoming the youngest cyborg. Zichin watches, comparing himself to her power. The news then switches to a tragedy. Security Captain Hechunshin was killed in his office by a giant mutant rat. Zichin is horrified, realizing it must be one of the rats he suspected earlier. This motivates him to intensify his training. A montage shows his progress: 100-meter sprint in 4, 61 seconds vertical jump of 5, 51 meters, and lifting 1,000 kg with one hand. He pushes himself to the limit, preparing for the tournament. The next morning, Zichin walks to the gym with Hanhan. A pretty girl with pink hair approaches him, calling him Junior Zichin and asking if he's eaten breakfast. She offers him fresh milk. Zichin politely declines. As they walk away, a jealous senior, Zhang Kai, watches with rage, angry that Zichin rejected the goddess. Zhang Kai confronts Zichin, grabbing his shoulder. He scolds Zichin for being rude to the girl. Zichin retorts, "Wouldn't that be even more rude to accept and give it away?" Zhang Kai is furious, but Zichen claims he is allergic to milk. Zhang Kai calls him a liar and challenges him to a spar. If Zhang Kai wins, Zichen must drink the milk. A system achievement pops up. Eliminate 1,000 different opponents. Reward. Unlock biological trait survival of the fittest. Zichen grins, accepting the challenge as a way to farm achievement progress. Purple energy flares around him as he says, "All right, let's spar." News of the duel spreads fast. Girls in the school gossip that Lin Zichen is dueling a senior. A crowd gathers in the gym, forming a circle around the fighters. The pink-haired girl cheers for Zichen, taking photos. Zhang Kai looks smug, planning to crush the genius before he matures. Zichen impatiently checks the time, wanting to go home for dinner. Zhang Kai, trying to be magnanimous, offers a handicap. "You've only trained for a month. I'll let you have the first 3 moves." Zichen agrees simply. Zichen vanishes instantly. Zhang Kai looks confused, seeing empty air. Suddenly, Zichen appears above him, delivering a devastating punch to the face. Zhang Kai is launched across the gym, blood flying from his nose. He hits the floor hard, unconscious. The coach's jaws drop again. "What? One punch?" Everyone screams. Zichen stands victorious, the system notifying him. "You've defeated a rival. Total rivals eliminated, 1/1000. He realizes he needs to defeat 999 more people. He turns to the crowd of seniors and asks, "Why don't we use this opportunity to spar as well?" The seniors look terrified. They immediately make excuses. "Cram school, mom told me to go home, need to take a massive dump, feeling dizzy." They flee en masse. However, Zhang Kai wakes up, claiming it was a sneak attack and demanding a rematch. The coach suggests letting Zio Lizzie test Zichen instead. Zio Lizzie steps up, terrified, begging Zichen not to hit his face. 10 minutes later, the floor is littered with the bodies of defeated seniors. Zichen is disappointed to learn that only defeating Zhang Kai counted towards the natural selection attribute because the others were just sparring, not official competitive settings. The coach is ecstatic, calling Zichen a true genius and the new ace. He declares that Shanghai High School will crush the upcoming regional tournament. Zichen realizes the tournament is the perfect place to farm his 1,000 kills. He visualizes fighting waves of opponents. Zhang Kai, now humbled and bandaged, pledges loyalty to Zichen, promising to accept his loss like a man. Hanhin, however, decides she wants to join the martial arts class too, training alongside Zichen. A training montage follows. Hanhin running 3,000 meters, doing stretches, sit-ups, and receiving massages from Zichen to relieve muscle tension. Zichen continues his own intense training, his punches creating shockwaves. 1 month later, the day of the tournament arrives. Zichen stands ready with his gym bag, looking determined. At the city gymnasium, the atmosphere is electric. Shanghai High draws a bad lot, matched against the strongest team, Shanghai No, 1 high. The opponents look intimidating, especially a guy rumored to run 100 m in under 9 seconds. Zichen volunteers to go first. The coach agrees. Zichen steps onto the mat, cheered on by Hanhin and the coach. His first opponent is a massive, hulking student who mocks Zichen's height, calling him a first-year shorty. The giant claims he will show Zichen the gap in power. The duel begins. The giant charges, but Zichen vanishes. In a split second, Zichen is under the giant's guard, landing a blow to the gut. The giant is lifted off his feet by the force. Zichen slams him into the ground. "Lin Zichen wins," the announcer shouts. Hanhin cheers wildly. The team is amazed, but the coach reminds Zichen to use footwork and not just charge head first. Zichen checks his progress. 2/1000 rivals eliminated. The matches continue. Zichen defeats the next opponent, Chen Feng, effortlessly. He dodges a kick, spins, and sends the opponent flying out of the ring with a tornado-like effect. The opponent hits the wall, knocked out. Medics rush in. The crowd starts whispering that Zichen is insanely lucky or the matches are rigged. Zichen ignores them, focused on the real deal coming next. Gao Fei. Gao Fei, the spiky-haired ace of Shanghai No, 1 high, steps up. The crowd murmurs that Gao Fei is a gene fusion user's son with physical stats way above the norm. The duel begins. Gao Fei moves with incredible speed, appearing as a blur. He launches a barrage of punches called Flowing Water Shattering Rock Fist. The coach yells at Zichen to defend. Zichen thinks, "Defense? A genius like me doesn't need defense." He observes the technique, his eyes tracking every movement. Gao Fei is confused why he can't land a hit. Zichen taunts him, dodging effortlessly. Gao Fei unleashes a blatant taunt flurry of punches. Zichen mirrors the move, learning it instantly, and counters with a devastating kick to Gao Fei's chest. Gao Fei is defeated. The crowd goes wild, chanting Zio Chen. Zichen proceeds to wipe out all 5 opponents from Shanghai No, 1 high single-handedly. Over the next 2 days, he defeats 2 more schools solo. Finally, Shanghai High wins the championship trophy. Zichen stands on the podium with the gold medal, checking his progress. 16/1000 rivals eliminated. He realizes unlocking the attribute will take years at this rate. Back in the locker room, Coach Guo hands Zichen the prize money, a stack of cash worth 20,000 yuan. Combined with his savings, Zichen has 30,000 yuan. However, that money vanishes quickly at the butcher shop. He buys a massive amount of ghost Shadow squid tentacles. After devouring 30 gins of meat, the codex progress hits 33%. Time flies. By the second year of middle school, Zichen breaks through from Tier 3 Ordinary to Tier 4 Ordinary. He lifts a massive boulder effortlessly and runs 100 meters in 4:49 seconds. Both Zichen and Hanhan graduate from middle school. The entrance exam results come out. Zichen ranks first in both liberal arts and martial arts for the entire district. However, Shen Qinghan Hanhan did great in academics but failed the martial arts cutoff for Shanghai High's elite martial arts class. She cries in her room, devastated. Zichen visits her, revealing that the principal of Shanghai High is coming to his house to beg him to stay. He invites her to come with him. Hanhan asks why she should go. Zichen smiles confidently, holding her hand. "Don't worry, my one condition for staying at Shanghai High is, you have to be my desk mate." He leads the blushing Hanhan out of the room, ready to negotiate their future together. The principal of Shanghai High, a man with a stern but thoughtful expression dressed in a formal suit, sat across from Lin Zichen in his home, concluding a long discussion about Zichen's future. The principal conveyed his strong desire for Zichen to continue his education at Shanghai High, laying out the benefits and opportunities available. As the conversation wrapped up, the principal, standing near the doorway, made a final offer. He told Zichen that as long as he agreed to stay, he could voice any other requests he might have. Lin Zichen, standing respectfully, considered the offer before speaking. He looked toward his dear friend, Shen Qinghan, who stood beside him, her pink hair tied in twin tails and adorned with white bunny-like accessories. He had only one condition, that Shen Qinghan could remain in the same class with him. The principal, a warm smile spreading across his face as he looked at the two of them, readily agreed, confirming her name. He instructed them to report to Shanghai High together when the school term began. Overjoyed, Zichen and Qinghan bowed deeply, thanking him profusely. With his high school path secured, Zichen turned his attention to his final junior high commitment, the martial arts tournament. In a flash of intense action, he was seen on the tournament stage, his body a blur of motion as he effortlessly defeated his opponent, once again securing the championship for Shanghai Junior High. With the prize money from his victory, Zichen decided to fulfill a long-held wish. He journeyed deep into a lush, green forest surrounding Shanghai City, a place of solitude where he could focus on his next step. He was only 20% away from completely unlocking the Ghost Shadow Squid Codex, and the high-grade meat he had purchased with his winnings would be more than enough to complete the process. He found a secluded spot and activated his system. A translucent blue screen appeared before him, displaying a holographic projection as he consumed the life essence of the Ghost Shadow squid. A torrent of vibrant blue energy, filled with ethereal squid-like apparitions, swirled around him, flowing into his body as the progress bar on his codex shot up to 100%. The system announced the successful unlock, granting him a new biological attribute, Blessing of Liquid Affinity. This new power promised to enhance his affinity with water, allowing him to move freely and even vanish in aquatic environments. Initially, Zichen felt the new attribute was rather underwhelming. To test its effects, he found a nearby pond and submerged himself in the cool water. He immediately noticed that his skin didn't wrinkle after a prolonged soak as it used to, and the water resistance felt significantly reduced, making swimming feel effortless. However, beyond these subtle changes, there were no other noticeable effects. He reasoned that the Ghost Shadow squid was a low-tier mutant beast, so a powerful attribute was unlikely. He resolved to save up for higher-grade meat or to become strong enough to hunt powerful wild mutant beasts himself, like the giant mutant rats that plagued the city outskirts. With less than a week before school started, his mother and Shen Qinghan's family decided they should all go on a trip together. To better study his new blessing of liquid affinity, Zichen suggested a trip to the beach. As they arrived, Shen Qinghan, wearing a cute black and white bikini, tentatively stepped into the ocean, exclaiming how cold the seawater was. Zichen reassured her that she would get used to it. As he began to swim, a series of system notifications popped up in his vision, something he hadn't anticipated. The system informed him that simply swimming was increasing his vitality, muscle strength, coordination, aquatic affinity, and swimming skill. Diving provided even more stat boosts, including hypoxia and water pressure resistance. This was a revelation. His new attribute turned the simple act of being in water into a training session. Shen Qinghan called out to him, reminding him that he had promised to teach her how to swim. He had almost forgotten that she didn't know how. He began to patiently instruct her, assuming that with her average athletic talent, it would take her a while to learn. However, she proved him wrong almost instantly. She took to the water with astonishing ease, happily proclaiming that swimming was super easy and that she had learned right away. She could not only swim but also dive and open her eyes underwater without any of the usual stinging discomfort, finding the sensation cool and enjoyable. Zichen was baffled. Her rapid learning was beyond normal talent. A thought struck him. Could her lifelong issue with bedwetting be connected to an innate, powerful affinity for water? He wondered if she possessed some kind of special cultivation body, like something out of a Xiangxia novel. His astonishment grew as they continued to dive together. They held their breath underwater for over 10 minutes, a feat impressive even for a trained individual, let alone a complete beginner like her. As they explored the underwater world, surrounded by schools of fish, a strange sound began to fill the water. It was a weird, almost creepy sound that Shen Qinghan heard clearly. She surfaced, looking deeply unsettled. She explained to a concerned Zichen that she had been hearing a strange female voice by her ear, speaking in a language she couldn't recognize. The voice felt incredibly real, echoing non-stop until she left the water. To calm her down, Zichen brought her back to their hotel. He searched online for similar phenomena but found nothing. Unable to sleep himself, he decided to channel his energy into training. In his hotel room, he performed 1,000 weighted sit-ups, pushing his body to its limits. Upon completion, a system notification appeared, informing him that his biological level had advanced to ordinary Tier 5. This was a significant leap in power, putting him on par with adult giant mutant rats. He felt a surge of strength, confident that he could now tear one apart with his bare hands. He went to the deserted beach under the moonlight to test his new capabilities. His 100-meter dash was now a blistering 3.64 seconds. His vertical jump reached 6.98 meters, and he could lift a 1,600 kg car with a single hand. The stat boost from reaching Tier 5 was immense. With this newfound power, he felt ready to begin his high school life. On the first day at Shanghai High, he and Qinghan were on class duty. As they arrived early, they overheard other students already buzzing about him, the handsome top scorer. To his surprise, this simple act of being on class duty triggered a new quest from his system, an achievement to complete 1,000 tasks in cooperative settings, with the reward being a biological attribute called social animal. Intrigued by what this new attribute might do, he decided to use the quiet time before school truly began to swing by the supermarket. With the Ghost Squid Codex unlocked, it was time to choose a new target. In the meat section, his eyes landed on a package of savage giant eagle meat, priced at 1,998 yuan per jin. This would be his next goal. He began his research into the new beast. The savage giant eagle was a higher-tier mutant beast than the Ghost bird thief. Its most remarkable feature was its vision, which was 30 times sharper than an ordinary human's, making it a top-notch predator capable of catching even the elusive shadow-like mutant rabbits. Unlocking this codex would be a massive enhancement to his combat capability. Plus, it was the second cheapest option available. He bought a small amount and consumed it back home, watching as the savage giant eagle codex progress ticked up to 1%. He calculated that it would take over 200,000 yuan to fully unlock it, reinforcing his need to earn prize money from high school martial arts competitions. He set a goal to unlock the entire codex before his second year. The summer vacation ended, and his high school life officially began. On the first day, the homeroom teacher, Han Yuanfeng, who was also the martial arts cultivation instructor, introduced himself and the other specialized teachers. Then the students began to introduce themselves one by one. When it was Shen Qinghan's turn, she was incredibly nervous in front of the class, giving a short, flustered introduction. Zichen's own introduction was the shortest of all, a simple and direct statement. After the introductions, the bell rang and the students began to mingle. A friendly girl named Lai Chuxin approached Qinghan, asking about her entrance exam score. Qinghan revealed she got 709, which was higher than Chuxin's 698. Chuxin then asked about her physical test score, lamenting her own awful score of 95 out of 100. Qinghan became flustered. as her score was much lower, only 79, just missing the cutoff for the elite class. As Chuckson pressed her, Zichin stepped in. A boy who had been watching them approached and asked to add Zichin on WeChat, creating a welcome distraction. Zichin used the opportunity to create a 4-person group chat with himself, Kinghin, Chuckson, and another boy named Yu, naming it the Dawn Squad. This simple act of creating a group chat unexpectedly completed another task for his social animal achievement. As the new friends got to know each other, Yu dropped a bombshell. He asked who they thought the strongest in the class was, while Chuckson guessed Zichin, the district's top scorer. Yu revealed that there were 2 monsters in their class that the principal had spent a fortune to recruit from the neighboring Nangyuan city. He pointed out Wang Xiuji, who had placed 3rd in Nangyuan's entrance exam with a 100-meter sprint time of 7.98 seconds, and Lu Gang, a massive student with innate brute strength who could lift a 300 kg barbell with one hand. While their new friends were impressed and worried for Zichin, he was internally relieved. Their impressive stats were what he had achieved back in elementary school. The bell rang again, and it was time to distribute textbooks. That afternoon, their first practical class was wilderness survival. The instructor, Cheng Bei, asked if anyone knew how to make fire by friction. To the surprise of the other students, both Wang Xiuji and Lu Gang raised their hands and expertly demonstrated the skill, showing off their experience. Not to be outdone, Zichin quickly taught his Dawn Squad friends some fire-starting tips as well. The following martial arts class also turned into a showcase for the Nangyuan duo, as they had already learned the special breathing cultivation technique being taught. Zichin, who also knew it, chose to remain low-key. Over a month passed, and it was time for the first exams. The teachers announced that the tests would come with cash rewards, with 888 yuan for first place. This prize money was enough to buy nearly half a jin of savage giant eagle meat, motivating Zichin to give it his all. The exams for mechanical augmentation and gene fusion were incredibly difficult, with niche questions that left most students struggling. While others vented their frustrations, the Nangyuan duo, Wang Xiuji and Lu Gang, smugly predicted they would each score 95. The results were soon announced. For the mechanical augmentation test, Shen Qinghen scraped by with 61 points, to her immense relief. Yu scored a respectable 88. Lu Gang and Wang Xiuji both scored 95 as predicted. Just as Yu was about to claim the 3rd-place prize, the teacher made a final announcement that stunned the entire class. Lin Zichin had scored a perfect 100. The same thing happened in the gene fusion exam. Zichin once again secured a perfect score, pocketing another 888 yuan prize. This time, Wang Xiuji couldn't contain his disbelief and accused Zichin of cheating. However, his accusation was quickly shot down by other students, who pointed out that the teacher designed the questions himself, making cheating impossible. The afternoon's wilderness survival exam consisted of tree climbing, rock climbing, swimming, and fire starting. The Nangyuan duo was determined to redeem themselves. However, Zichin completely dominated. He ranked 1st in rock climbing, leaving them so far behind they couldn't even see his shadow. He also ranked 1st in tree climbing and was the fastest at starting a fire. The only event he didn't win was swimming, but only because Shen Qinghen, with her incredible water affinity, crushed everyone, including the Nangyuan duo, dealing them another heavy mental blow. After a lunch break where the defeated duo sat in stunned silence, it was time for the final and most anticipated test, the martial arts sparring session. The warm-up involved a physical test of 100-meter sprint time, one-hand barbell lift, and vertical jump height. To avoid being too flashy, Zichin held back, aiming only to slightly beat the results of Lu Gang and Wang Xiuji. He still easily took first place in all 3 events, further confounding the duo who couldn't understand how he had gotten so much stronger since the entrance exams. The sparring began in the gymnasium. Zichin, eager to complete his survival of the fittest achievement, stepped onto the ring first. His overwhelming physical stats intimidated everyone, and no one dared to challenge him, not even the Nangyuan duo. To get things moving, the teacher had a student named Lu Wai spar with him. Zichin, needing to end the matches quickly, defeated him in a single, swift motion. After his display, Lu Gang finally stepped up to challenge another student, eager to prove his combat prowess. The two engaged in a fierce but brief fight, which Lu Gang won. He then challenged Wang Xiuji, but before they could fight, Zichin stepped between them, challenging them both. He first fought Yu, acknowledging his opponent's strong physical technique but ultimately overpowering him. With Yu defeated, Lu Gang stepped into the ring, his confidence high. However, he was no match for Zichin, who dodged his attack with blinding speed and knocked him to the ground with a single, powerful blow. The crowd urged Wang Shuji to avenge his friend, and he reluctantly stepped onto the stage. The fight was over in an instant. Zichen's speed was too much for him, and he was defeated before he could even process what had happened. One by one, Zichen took down the rest of the boys in the class. According to the achievement rules, defeating the same opponent multiple times only counted once, so he turned his attention to the girls. To his surprise, they eagerly lined up to challenge him. He held back, his goal simply being to complete the task. Even after sparring with all the girls, he was still far from completing the achievement. Just as he was feeling disappointed, his teacher, Han Yuanfeng, announced some good news. In 1 month, their elite class would challenge the strongest regular class of the second year. This was the perfect opportunity for Zichen. The Nangyuan duo, recovering from their defeat, formally declared Zichen their rival for the next 3 years. Zichen paid them no mind. His thoughts focused on the 3,000 yuan he had earned in prize money that day and his plan to earn more by writing web novels. That night, he started his writing journey, and to his delight, received a contract offer from a major platform by the next morning. However, his good mood was soured by a piece of news. A giant mutant rat, over 5 meters long, had attacked a beast meat cold storage facility on the city outskirts. The creature was only stopped when a cyborg guard activated his self-destruct sequence, blowing them both to pieces. The incident was a grim reminder of the lurking threat of the rat god cult. The day of the sparring session against the second-year class arrived. In the gymnasium, Han Yuanfeng discussed strategy with his elite students. He explained that while their top fighters were stronger, the second-year class had the advantage in numbers and overall strength. Their strategy would be to wear down their opponents. Zichen, wanting to defeat as many opponents as possible for his achievement, asked to go first. However, the opposing teacher protested, citing the unspoken rule that the weakest students should go first. The match began with Shen Qinghen, as the weakest of her class, facing the strongest of the second years. She fought bravely and defensively, managing to hold out for over 3 minutes and significantly draining her opponent's stamina before she was defeated. Her performance earned her praise from her teacher. The next student from Zichen's class easily defeated the now exhausted senior. Then it was Hiyu's turn. He fought with explosive power, knocking down 5 opponents in succession before being defeated due to stamina loss. Next up was Wang Shuji, who also performed admirably, defeating 10 opponents in a row before he too was overcome. Finally, with only 3 students left on their side versus 13 on the senior side, it was Lin Zichen's turn to enter the ring. He faced the senior's ace, a large, muscular student named Wang Jin. The senior, oozing arrogance, declared that he never bullies the weak and offered to stand still and let Zichen attack him for 10 moves. Zichen simply replied, "All right." The senior stood with his arms crossed, a smug look on his face, urging Zichen to come at him with full force. Zichen obliged. In a single explosive movement, he closed the distance and delivered a powerful kick. The impact sent the massive senior flying out of the ring and crashing into the wall on the other side of the gymnasium, knocking him out cold. The entire gym fell into a stunned silence, followed by a massive eruption of cheers from Zichen's classmates. The chapter begins with a title card. Chapter 4, setting the stage for the unfolding narrative. In a bustling school hallway, 2 young men are deep in conversation, one addressing the other as Brother Feng. He excitedly recounts how a student from their class, Zichen, demonstrated insane power by knocking down Wang Jin with a single, devastating punch. The friend remarks that Zichen's strength feels almost comparable to the legendary Wu Tiancheng during his first year of high school. Brother Feng, the teacher, scoffs at the comparison, his expression serious as he clarifies that Wu Tiancheng was something beyond human. He recalls how, back in his first year, Wu Tiancheng's overwhelming performance was so strong it practically scared the principal to death. Zichen, the teal-haired protagonist, overhears this and, with a curious look, approaches his teacher to ask about the identity of this Wu Tiancheng. The teacher, Han Yuanfeng, turns to face his students, his arms crossed as he explains the legend. Wu Tiancheng, he says, was a senior from a few years prior who, as a mere first year, single-handedly cleared out the entire top third-year elite class, an act that sent shockwaves of fear through the school's leadership. The teacher then lists Wu Tiancheng's incredible physical feats: a 100-meter dash in a blistering 6.12 seconds, a standing vertical jump of 3.96 meters, and the raw power to lift a 650 kg barbell with just one hand. The sheer absurdity of these numbers is meant to instill awe and a sense of a legendary figure. Han Yuanfeng then looks directly at Zichen, a slight smirk on his face, and asks, "Are you scared?" Zichin, with a bead of sweat running down his temple, admits with a nervous smile, a little scared. However, his internal monologue reveals his true thoughts, a mix of arrogance and self-assurance. He internally scoffs, thinking that Wu Tiancheng's power is impressive, but only almost catching up to his own strength during the summer vacation of his 6th grade in elementary school. A testament to Zichin's hidden, monstrous potential. The scene transitions to the brightly lit exterior of the Mingxiang restaurant, where Zichin and his classmates have gathered to celebrate. Inside, the atmosphere is jubilant. One student raises his drink high, a bottle of dark soda, and proposes a toast. He thanks Zichin, declaring that it was only because of him that they were able to defeat the senior year 2 ordinary class. He adds that their homeroom teacher honored the bet they had made and is treating them all to this celebratory meal. With a beaming smile, he yells for everyone to raise a glass to Zichin. The entire class erupts in cheers, their voices echoing through the restaurant. Zichin awesome, and Brother Chen mighty. The tables are laden with food, and the students are all smiles, their respect and admiration for Zichin palpable. Amidst the celebration, his classmates flock to him, eager to get closer to their new hero. One asks him for secret tips on how he trains his body at home, while another, a bit shyly, notes they haven't added each other on WeChat yet and suggests they do so. Zichin, sitting in the middle of this newfound fame, feels a bit uncomfortable with the sudden attention. He narrates internally that after taking down the senior class, he became famous in school, and this rush of classmates trying to get close feels awkward. However, his childhood friend, Shen Qinghen, a girl with vibrant pink hair styled in twin tails, remains a constant source of comfort. She never changed. Fearing he'd be too busy socializing to eat, she diligently keeps putting food into his bowl, a quiet gesture of unwavering care amidst the noise. Qinghen, whom he calls Hanhen, eats happily beside him, her focus entirely on him. Suddenly, she pauses, her cheeks slightly flushed, and tells him, "Zio Chen, I'm going to the restroom." As she walks away, Zichin's internal monologue continues, noting with amusement that her uncontrollable urge to pee is another thing that has never changed. While Hanhen is away, Zichin overhears a cruel conversation between 2 other female classmates. One comments with disdain how Shen Qinghen was fawning over Lin Zichin, pouring his drinks and peeling his shrimp like a servant girl attending to her master. The other girl scoffs, callously remarking that with Qinghen's lack of ability, the only way she could have gotten into their elite class was by being Lin Zichin's bootlicker. She adds a final, cutting remark. Probably won't be able to lick for long either. The gap in their abilities is so huge, they're destined to drift apart. Unseen by them, Hanhen stands just around the corner, having heard every word. Her face is a mask of hurt and anger, her eyes welling up with tears. With trembling lips, she mutters to herself, "I'm not a bootlicker." She then bursts back into the room, her voice filled with defiant pride, and declares to the gossiping girls, "I'm his childhood sweetheart." Her outburst leaves the other students speechless. Later, as Zichin and Hanhen walk home under the evening city lights, he notices she seems down and asks if something happened. Hanhen, her head lowered, begins to open up about a deep-seated insecurity. She recalls how her mom always told her that when she grew up, she wouldn't wet her bed anymore. But her voice trembles as she admits that even now, she still wets herself when she sleeps at night and has to wear a diaper to bed every single night, a source of constant annoyance and shame for her. Her eyes are filled with despair as she looks at Zichin and says, "Zio Chen, I feel like I'm disabled." A disabled person who can't hold their pee. Zichin stops walking and looks at her with a gentle, reassuring expression. "You're not disabled," he says softly. He then reframes her weakness in a magical way to lift her spirits. "Not being able to hold your pee is your superpower," he tells her, his eyes twinkling. "It's just that this superpower hasn't fully developed yet." Hanhen looks up at him, her teary eyes wide with surprise and a glimmer of hope. "Superpower?" she echoes. "Yes, a superpower," Zichin confirms with a confident nod. He further explains, "Your amazing water affinity is one manifestation of your superpower." Intrigued, Hanhen asks if he, being so strong since he was a kid, also has a superpower. Zichin smiles and affirms, "Yeah, just like you, I have a superpower." This simple confirmation fills Hanhen with wonder. She looks down at her hands, a thoughtful expression on her face, and muses aloud, "If I really had a superpower, I wonder what kind of superpower it would be." Zichin, walking beside her, looks at her with a profound sense of certainty and declares, "Definitely a really powerful superpower." As they continue their walk, their conversation is abruptly interrupted. They come across a frantic scene where sanitation workers are trying to do their job, but a man with wild hair and a crazed look in his eyes is screaming at them. The man brandishes a broom like a weapon, yelling, "Stop, stop now. Don't kill my brothers." He looks utterly distraught, tears streaming down his face as he screams in anguish, "Ah, killing my brothers again, and I'll fight you." Hanhin, frightened, hides behind Zichen and whispers, "Zio Chen, is this guy crazy?" Zichen agrees, suggesting he might be mentally ill and that he looks really scary. He calmly tells her that this is what mental patients are like and that they should just go home. The scene shifts to Lin Zichen's home, where the television is on, broadcasting a news report. The reporter details the recent disappearance of a young female teacher whose whereabouts are still unknown. Zichen's mother sighs with worry, asking if this is the fourth young woman to disappear this month. His father corrects her, his face grim, stating that it's actually the fifth. The news report continues, advising that all 5 missing women were young and beautiful and warns other young women to avoid going out alone at night. Zichen's mother turns to him, her expression serious and concerned. "Zio Chen, things outside aren't safe lately," she says sternly. "Don't let Hannon go out alone, understood?" Zichen meets her gaze and reassures her, "Mom, don't worry, I'll watch over her." The narrative then cuts to the Shanghai City security station. The mentally unstable man from the street is now in an interrogation room. An officer asks a man in a white coat if the check is done and if the man is a mental patient. The man in the coat replies that he's not sure yet. He's been trying to communicate, but the subject hasn't said a word, acting as if he's mute. The officer finds this odd, recalling that the man was shouting non-stop back at the market. As 2 officers watch him through a one-way mirror, the man in the interrogation room begins to convulse violently. His body contorts, and he lets out a guttural roar as dark, menacing energy erupts from him. His form swells and morphs, fur sprouting from his skin and his features twisting into something monstrous. One of the officers screams into his communicator in sheer terror, Quickly request headquarters to send in a mechanical cyborg for support." The man in the interrogation room is turning into a giant mutant rat. The man transforms into a hulking, bipedal rat creature, its eyes glowing with red malice, surrounded by a swarm of smaller, equally vicious-looking rats. Inside the security station, chaos erupts. Officers open fire on the swarming rats, their bullets ricocheting in the confined space. A call comes in from headquarters, informing the chief that all the cyborgs have been sent out on other missions and that support will take roughly 10 minutes to arrive. The chief, realizing they are low on ammunition, knows they won't last that long. He makes a quick decision, ordering his men to get in their car. Their plan is to lure the Ratman out to the outskirts to buy time until support arrives. They speed away in a police car, the giant Ratman in hot pursuit, its massive form easily keeping pace with the vehicle. The chief yells at the driver to go faster, to lure it up the mountain to buy as much time as possible. However, the Ratman is relentless. With a powerful leap, it lands on the roof of the car, its claws tearing through the metal. The officers inside are thrown into a panic. As the car swerves, the Ratman smashes through the windshield, its terrifying maw wide open. Just as it's about to devour the officers, one of them, resigned to his fate, whispers, "In the end." I guess it's too late. Suddenly, a sleek white mechanical cyborg descends from the sky like an avenging angel. A calm, robotic voice announces, "Target locked on." Beams of purple energy rain down from the sky, bombarding the Ratman. The creature roars in agony, "Die!" as explosions engulf it. The cyborg assesses the situation, noting that the giant mutant rat actually dug a hole and escaped, seemingly having become smarter. However, judging by the pieces of flesh left on the ground, the cyborg concludes that the creature is gravely injured and couldn't have gone far, meaning there's still a chance to track it down and kill it. The story then jumps to 3 a.m. Zichen is wide awake in his room, staring at his computer screen. He reflects on his recent success as a web novel author. He's been writing for over half a month, steadily updating with over 4,000 words a day, and his novel is already close to 100,000 words. The income from paying readers has already exceeded 10,000 yuan. He's excited, knowing that once the promotional period for his new book is over, his stats and earnings will get even better. The anticipation of his potential earnings keeps him wide awake all night. Unable to sleep, Zichen decides to put his restless energy to use. He goes to a small, deserted alley with no surveillance cameras to test the results of his recent training. The results are astounding. His 100-meter sprint now takes only 3:43 seconds, and his vertical jump reaches an incredible 7:22 meters. The improvements are significant. He marvels at his progress, thinking that if he keeps improving at this rate, he could eventually achieve sainthood through his physical body alone. As he stands in the alley, he hears a gruesome sound. He peers around a corner and sees a horrifying sight. The giant mutant rat from the news, now transformed into a more humanoid rat man, is cannibalizing a smaller rat. The rat man mutters to its dead brother, apologizing for eating him but explaining he was just too hungry. It promises to offer sacrifices to him every year. Zichin immediately recognizes the creature from the news and realizes he must get out of there and notify the police. But before he can move, the rat man spots him. Its eyes gleam with hunger as it discards the half-eaten corpse and declares it can now eat other people. It lunges at Zichin, screaming for meat and human flesh. The creature's speed is immense, and Zichin knows he can't dodge it. He has no choice but to fight it head-on. He braces himself and meets the rat man's charge with a powerful punch. The impact is staggering. The rat man is shocked by the force, wondering how a seemingly weak student can possess so much strength. Zichin presses his advantage, knowing he can't give the creature any chance to fight back. He must finish it off quickly. He unleashes a furious barrage of punches and kicks, his fists and feet a blur of motion, striking the rat man again and again. The creature is overwhelmed, unable to defend against the relentless assault. With a final, mighty blow, Zichin sends the rat man crashing to the ground, its body broken and still. He stands over it, panting, and wonders, is it dead? A faint blue light emanates from the dead rat man's body and flows into Zichin. A notification appears in his mind. You absorbed a trace of the giant mutant rat's life essence. Giant mutant rat codex, 7%. He notes that since he can absorb its life essence, it must be completely dead. However, he's disappointed that he only gained 2%, speculating that it might be related to the amount of Rat King genes the cultists consume. He decides to head back, as morning is approaching. As he leaves the alley, a mysterious figure in a futuristic purple and black suit lands silently on a nearby rooftop, surveying the scene of the battle. The figure looks down at the corpse of the rat man and wonders aloud, who killed this rat man? The scene shifts to a dark, candle-lit room where a ritual is taking place. A man in a dark cloak stands before a sacrificial circle, a terrified young woman lying unconscious on an altar in the center. The cultist prostrates himself and calls out, Lord Rat God, please enjoy this offering. A terrifying, disembodied voice booms through the room, its source a swirling mass of red and black energy. Why only one woman? The rat god demands, its voice dripping with displeasure. Do you want to starve me to death? This isn't even enough to fill the gap between my teeth. The cultist trembles in fear, pleading for the rat god to listen to his explanation. He explains that young women outside are very cautious now and are difficult to capture. The rat god seems to consider this, then commands, then next time just capture young men. The rat god then bestows a gift upon the cultist, a piece of writhing, fleshy matter which the cultist gratefully accepts. The god adds a new directive. Stop capturing ordinary people because their meat tastes bad. It desires to eat high and mighty nobles whose flesh would be rich and tender from a life of comfort. The story returns to Zichin, who is now dedicating his free time to helping Hanhin improve her martial arts. In what appears to be her home, he patiently corrects her form. Your punch angle is too high. Lower it a bit, he instructs. Your legs are too close together. Separate them. He guides her through the stances, and she diligently follows his instructions. All right, now, he says, attack me with all your strength. Hanhin yells and charges, but her form is still clumsy. Zichin easily blocks her attacks, using the opportunity to teach. He corrects her sweeping kick, showing her the proper stance. After hours of grueling practice, Hanhin is exhausted but happy, feeling her martial strength growing. She suggests they train daily, but Zichin advises against it, saying 3 times a week is plenty, and that daily training would be too much for her to endure. During a break, a special news report flashes on the television. It features a story about a former cyborg prodigy girl, now disabled from premature mechanical modifications, who will receive free treatment from the Mecha deity group. The report then switches to a story about a Kyoto University genius, who has successfully fused with the 1000 Silk Spider Beast gene, becoming the youngest person to undergo a second gene fusion. Zichin realizes this is the same prodigy from years ago. The news explains that this is an incredible feat, as most people can only undergo gene fusion after reaching adulthood. Otherwise, they risk dangerous mutations. This genius, however, has done it twice before even turning 18. Zichin is struck by this, wondering if gene fusion is truly the ultimate path to power. Back in his room, Zichin checks his author account. His novel's popularity has exploded, with readers praising him as a writing monster. He reflects on his biological attributes, which allow him to easily write 10,000 words per hour, a skill that doesn't interfere with his training. His father comes in and congratulates him on his novel's success, estimating that he could earn around 50,000 yuan in his first month, with the potential for 100,000 a month later on. Zichen is ecstatic, realizing this income will allow him to afford the expensive mutant beast codexes he needs to unlock his full potential. The scene shifts to the school's martial arts class. The teacher, Han Yuanfeng, has organized an in-class sparring session. As always, Zichen completely dominates the stage, effortlessly defeating every opponent and earning 888 yuan and dozens of experience points for his primal dominance achievement. On the other hand, Shen Qinghan, while still ranked last, shows remarkable progress. Last time, she was defeated in less than 3 seconds. This time, she manages to fight for almost 3 minutes, exchanging blows with her opponent instead of being instantly overwhelmed. Her teacher praises her progress and encourages her to keep it up. He then announces their next goal. In 1 month, they will challenge the strongest second-year elite class. The goal is to defeat everyone except their top 3 fighters. A month passes in the blink of an eye. Zichen's novel has earned him a substantial amount of money, nearly 100,000 yuan. He goes to a specialty store to buy fierce great eagle meat. The clerk informs him of a sale, a discount if he buys 50 kg at once. Zichen, not having quite enough money for such a large purchase, decides to wait another month until he can afford the bulk discount. The next day at school, Hanhan tells Zichen about a new stir-fry window at the cafeteria. They decide to try it. At the cafeteria, they find a long line. Suddenly, a student from another class blatantly cuts in line in front of Zichen's classmate, Hiyu. Hiyu confronts the line cutter, who arrogantly claims his deskmate was holding his spot. A heated argument erupts. Hiyu's friends notice the commotion, but see that Hiyu, with his fierce presence, seems to have the situation under control. However, the line cutter is joined by his friends, who surround Hiyu menacingly. Just as things are about to escalate, Zichen calmly steps forward. He looks at the group and says simply, "Classmate, please go stand at the back of the line." The line cutter scoffs, "If I don't go, what can you possibly do?" Zichen, with an unimpressed look, retorts, "I think cutting in line is even more contemptible," effectively shutting down the confrontation with his calm authority. The scene cuts to a dark villa in the wealthy district where the rat god cultists are meeting. The leader announces that one of their members, Sha Qiang, is dead. He dismisses the death, calling the man a crazy bastard who deserved it. He introduces a newcomer who will take his place. He then relays the rat god's new orders. The sacrifices must now be high and mighty people. The members express concern over the high risk, but the leader clarifies they will start by targeting the sons of wealthy but powerless merchants. The newcomer is given his first task: capture a handsome, ordinary young man as a practice run before he is presented as an offering to one of the divine children under the rat god. The newcomer confidently promises to present the most handsome offering in the entire city. Back at school, news spreads about the recent disappearances of several rich second-generation kids. Zichen reads the news on his phone, noting that the kidnappers have not demanded any ransom. He immediately suspects the rat god cult is behind it. The day of the challenge against the second-year elite class arrives. In the gym, the atmosphere is tense. Hiyu spots the boys who cut in line and glares at them, and they respond with a defiant gesture. The sparring begins, and just like last time, Shen Qinghan goes first. She faces a senior girl from the elite class who is incredibly strong. Despite Hanhan's improved skills, she is quickly overwhelmed by her opponent's power and defeated. The second-year class proves to be on another level entirely. One after another, Zichen's classmates are defeated, often by a single powerful senior girl who single-handedly takes down 9 of them in a row. Soon, only Zichen, Hiyu, and 2 other boys are left from their class, while the opposing team has 36 members who haven't even fought yet. The teacher, Han Yuanfeng, watches with a grim expression, realizing the gap in strength is simply too large for his students to overcome. Hiyu steps onto the stage, determined to turn the tide. He faces the 6 remaining girls on the other team and, true to his fierce nature, defeats all of them with little effort. Finally, a male student from the second-year class steps up. It's the same boy who cut in line at the cafeteria, and he's clearly there for revenge against Hiyu. The boy is surprisingly strong, catching Hiyu off guard and defeating him. With Hiyu defeated, the boy turns his taunts towards Zichen, who has been watching from the sidelines. "Aren't you always sticking your nose into other people's business?" He sneers. Zichen's classmates are outraged by the boy's arrogance and the taunts from the other second-year students who yell for the boy to humiliate Zichen. Zichen calmly walks onto the stage. The boy charges at him, but Zichin moves with blinding speed. In a single fluid motion, he evades the attack, grabs the boy's arm, and slams him face first into the mat, knocking him out cold in an instant. The entire gym falls silent, stunned by the display of overwhelming power. The second-year students are in disbelief. One of their top 5 fighters, Kai Yu, was defeated so fast. They realize Lin Zichin had been hiding his true strength. One after another, the remaining 29 students of the second-year class go up against Zichin, and one after another, they are all effortlessly defeated. Half an hour later, Zichin stands alone on the stage, the victor. He checks his system, noting his primal dominance progress has only increased to 119 out of 1,000. It's increasing too slowly for his liking. He realizes that by always having to wait his turn, his potential for growth is being stifled. He concludes that his strength has far surpassed the high school level, and therefore he no longer needs to follow high school rules. He decides, from now on, I'm going to make my own rules. The chapter concludes with Zichin striding purposefully into the principal's office. The principal looks up in surprise as Zichin makes a shocking declaration, his voice filled with unshakable confidence. Yes, I'm going to challenge the whole school. A woman with short, stylish purple hair, glasses perked on her nose, and a crisp white blouse with a black bow tie confronts a young man with spiky green hair. She leans forward, her expression a mixture of disbelief and stern authority, her hands planted firmly on her hips. You're just a first-year high school student and you want to challenge the whole school? Are you serious? On what basis? She demands. The young man, Lin Zichin, stands calmly, hands in his pockets, exuding an aura of unshakable confidence. That's right, Principal, he replies, his voice even. Please come to the gym with me. I'll prove that I have the strength to challenge the whole school. They transition to the school's gymnasium, a vast space filled with weightlifting equipment. Zichin gestures for the principal to wait as he approaches a heavily loaded barbell. The principal, Zichin, it's so late. Why did you bring me here? He simply replies, of course, it's to show my strength. The principal looks on, a skeptical and slightly annoyed expression on her face, wondering what he could possibly do to impress her. Before she can even fully process his intent, Zichin grips the barbell, his knuckles white. With a sharp grunt, he lifts the massive weight off the ground, a feat that sends a shockwave of disbelief across the principal's face. Her eyes widen behind her glasses as she sees the number clearly stamped on the weight plates. 700 kg. The sheer force of the lift is immense, and she realizes he wasn't bluffing. So he was talking about the strength. She thinks, her mind racing. 700 kg? This is even stronger than Wu Tiancheng, the strongest student in our school's history when he was a first year. Her entire demeanor changes from stern skepticism to wide-eyed astonishment. Zichin, holding the weight as if it were nothing, looks at her and says, Principal, please remember to set up prizes. Without prizes, no one will be motivated. He then lays out his plan for a 2-tiered prize system, a participation reward to encourage everyone to step up, and a larger, accumulating prize pool for whoever can finally defeat him. If no one succeeds within the time limit, the prize belongs to him. The principal, now completely won over, eagerly agrees. Don't worry, leave it to me, the principal. Everything will be done exactly as you said, she assures him, her tone now respectful and accommodating. Zichin adds one last crucial condition. Principal, you must keep my strength a secret for now, or no one will be motivated to challenge me once they find out. She nods enthusiastically. Okay, I'll listen to you. The scene shifts to the principal's office, where they are finalizing the arrangements. A third person, another school staff member, watches in utter bewilderment from the side. He sees the principal, who is normally fierce and unapproachable, smiling like a sycophant in front of Lin Zichin. Am I dreaming? The man thinks, completely unable to reconcile the principal's current behavior with her usual cold demeanor. What the heck is going on here? Later, at 2 p.m., the principal stands before a massive assembly of students, a huge crowd gathered in an outdoor amphitheater. As planned, she introduces Zichin's basic information and recent achievements, carefully omitting his true strength. She explains the rules and the tantalizing prize details, causing the audience to go absolutely wild with excitement and derision. The students erupt in a cacophony of mockery. Principal, are you serious? The principal has gone crazy. One student shouts. You're just a first-year student and you're setting up a stage for the whole school to challenge you. Where does your confidence come from? Another jeers. The insults fly, with students calling him arrogant and ignorant, comparing him unfavorably to the legendary Wu Tiancheng. Zichin stands on the stage, listening to the insults with a calm, almost predatory smile. He announces, starting tomorrow, I'll be holding my ground in the gym every day during the 2-hour lunch break. Everyone is welcome to come and spar. Internally, he thinks, perfect. Looks like there's a lot of people who want to beat me up. The primal dominance may unlock sooner than I expected. That evening, as Zichin walks down a city street, he's approached by a young woman with pink hair. "Hey, handsome, are you alone?" she asks, trying to be seductive. "Are you interested in going to the bar for a couple of drinks?" Zichin glances at her, his expression utterly flat, and replies coldly, "Not interested. Get the hell away from me." The woman is left speechless as he walks away. She is revealed to be a member of the rat god cult, and her mission is to find a perfect 10/10 handsome man for a sacrificial ritual. She has been searching for days without success and is growing desperate as her deadline approaches. Frustrated, she laments her inability to find a suitable target, thinking she might even be excluded from the cult. Just as she is about to give up hope, she spots Zichin walking down a nearly deserted street ahead of her. Her eyes light up with a malevolent glee. After all that searching, he shows up without any effort. She thinks, her gaze locking onto him. He's the one I've been searching for. Seeing that the road is empty, she decides it's the perfect time to strike. Her body contorts and transforms, her human form melting away to reveal a hideous, monstrous rat-like creature with a grotesque, gaping maw filled with razor-sharp teeth and a long, slithering tongue. The creature lunges at Zichin, ready to capture her prize. Zichin turns, completely unfazed by the monstrous transformation. He calmly watches the creature approach, thinking to himself, "I didn't expect that going out for exercise would let me run into a rat man. The mutant rat codex can increase its unlock progress again." The creature hesitates, intimidated by his unnatural calm. As it lunges, Zichin casually bends down, picks up a small rock from the pavement, and flicks it with his thumb. The rock shoots through the air like a bullet and strikes the rat creature squarely in the head, killing it instantly. Its massive body collapses to the ground, inert. Zichin stares at the dead monster, a look of mild surprise on his face. "That's it. I just picked up a rock, threw it at him, and he died." He places his hand on the corpse, and a faint light emanates as he absorbs its life essence. A system notification appears before him. "You absorbed a trace of the giant mutant rat's life essence." Giant mutant rat codex, 8%. He scoffs. It only increased by 1%. So little. No wonder this rat man was garbage. He decides to stop running at night for safety, acknowledging that not all cult followers are this weak. The next day, Zichin is at home watching the news. A report flashes across the screen. At 3 a.m., the previous night, the city security HQ, in a joint operation with teachers from Shanghai University's Evolution Institute, completely destroyed the rat god cult. Zichin is stunned. The rat god cult, destroyed. The news anchor highlights the key figure in the operation. Wu Tiancheng, the same legendary student from his high school, now a teacher at the university and a gene fusioner at the advanced biological level. The screen shows dramatic footage of Wu Tiancheng, a figure crackling with immense power, single-handedly obliterating the Rat King in a battle that lasted a mere half-minute. The sheer destructive force displayed leaves Zichin in awe. So, this is the strength of a gene fusioner at the advanced biological level. Really powerful. He murmurs. The scene cuts to a government office where a man in a tactical vest is being briefed. They are discussing Wu Tiancheng, referring to the powerful Rat King he defeated as Small Fry. It is revealed that a group of even more powerful individuals who went to suppress a riot at a place called Sore Site 36 are still missing. In a dark, cavernous underground, a mysterious, shadowy figure addresses a different, more intelligent-looking rat monster, the true Rat King. This monster had hidden in the shadows, letting its own brother take the fall as a decoy. The shadowy figure berates the creature for causing chaos instead of digging tunnels as instructed, and as punishment, it brutally mutilates the Rat King. The story then jumps to the day of the challenge at the school gym. Students are buzzing about the news of the rat god cult's demise. A notice is being passed around on phones, showing the faces of 9 remaining cult remnants who are on the run, with rewards from 5,000 to 500,000 yuan for clues. Zichin looks at the notice and sees the face of the woman he killed the night before. A walking 500,000 yuan. He thinks to himself with a smirk. The gym is packed to the rafters. A huge banner advertises participation rewards, including lottery tickets for big prizes. The students are not there to fight, they are there for the loot. Girls are handing out flyers for the prize lottery, mentioning the latest game consoles and iPhones are up for grabs. The crowd goes wild, and a massive throng of students, boys and girls alike, surges towards the stage, all wanting a piece of the action. "I want a challenge!" They scream, desperate for the prizes. Zichin finds himself mobbed on the stage, with girls excitedly touching his arms. "I touched it, such strong arms!" one exclaims. Annoyed by the chaos, Zichin decides to begin. He effortlessly throws off the girls surrounding him, thinking, I don't like hitting girls, but for the sake of my achievement. With swift, precise movements, he begins to dispatch the challengers one by one. A girl who is knocked off the stage tries to get back up, shouting, I want to challenge again, but is reminded that defeated challengers may not re-challenge. The flow of challengers is relentless. A tough-looking student steps up, declaring, Lin Zichen, right? I've had it with you for a while now, only to be knocked out instantly. Zichen stands atop a mountain of defeated students, asking, who else? Another challenger, Yan Shaoxuan, the tyrant of the top student class in Year 2, steps onto the stage. He begins a long, condescending speech about teaching Zichen a lesson in humility. Today, let me give you your first real lesson in life. He drones on. Zichen, completely uninterested, asks the teacher refereeing the match, Teacher, may I begin now? The moment the teacher gives the signal, Zichen moves in a blur, striking Yan Shaoxuan mid-sentence and knocking him out cold with a single blow. The crowd is stunned into silence. Yan Shaoxuan got one-shotted. Is Lin Zichen that broken? They whisper in disbelief. Just then, a new figure arrives, parting the crowd. It's Chen Wuxing, the top student of the entire school. He steps onto the stage, looking down at the defeated Yan Shaoxuan. Never thought Shaoxuan would lose to you, kid, he says to Zichen. He begins his own lecture. Looks like I'll have to beat you down first before you're willing to listen to my words. But Zichen is in a hurry. Really sorry, he says, interrupting him, but I'm in a hurry. Before Chen Wuxing can even react, Zichen unleashes a devastating attack, a wave of pure force that sends the top student flying out of the ring, completely defeated. The remaining students are speechless and terrified. Zichen points to a random student in the crowd. Hey, don't space out, get on stage and fight me. The terrified student stammers, who? Me, but is shoved forward by the crowd, who have now accepted Zichen's overwhelming power and just want to collect their participation prize. After this final, token fight, a series of system notifications appear before Zichen. In an official competition setting, using the most primitive method of biological selection, accumulate and eliminate 1,000 different opponents achieved. Obtained biological trait, survival of the fittest. You acquired a biological attribute, primal dominance. Primal dominance increases the damage you deal to other living beings. Zichen clenches his fist in triumph. Finally, he thinks. Later in the principal's office, she congratulates him enthusiastically. You even took down Chen Wuxing in an instant. You're definitely still hiding some of your true strength, aren't you? Zichen modestly replies, not much, just a teeny tiny bit. She presses him, mentioning Chen Wuxing's feat of lifting 690 kg and guessing Zichen must be able to lift at least 800 kg. Zichen confirms his measured strength is 795 kg, which still leaves her astounded. He then makes his request. Exclusive private use of the gymnasium's swimming pool for himself and Shen Qinghen. The principal, imagining the two of them alone and the romantic possibilities, readily agrees, even when he asks to cover up all the cameras in the area. The next day, Zichen meets Shen Qinghen, Hanhen, to go to the pool. He tells her his goal is to find out what kind of superpower she really has. Later, they are in the pool area, which is now completely private. Hanhen appears looking stunning in a black bikini. They get in the water to begin her training. While underwater, Hanhen suddenly panics. She surfaces, looking at her hands in shock. Zayachin, the water. It's passing right through my body. Look. She holds up her hands, and Zichen watches as the pool water flows directly through them as if they were ghosts. Zichen realizes this is the awakening of her superpower. They get out of the pool to examine her more closely. After several tests, it appears that for now, only her hands possess this strange, intangible quality with water. Hanhen is ecstatic. The story opens on chapter 30 with a young woman with long, lavender-purple hair styled in twin tails, her face a mask of pure panic. Tears stream from her wide, violet eyes as she clutches the arm of a teal-haired young man, our protagonist, Zio Chen. What do I do, Zio Chen? She wails, her voice trembling. It's almost time for Chu Xin and me to go on stage. Her distress is palpable. She's terrified of failure. We've practiced for so long. If I ruin it by wetting myself, she'll definitely hate me. Zio Chen, in stark contrast, maintains a calm, almost stoic expression. He looks down at his distraught friend, Shen Qinghen, and speaks with a steady voice. Stop crying. If you cry anymore, your makeup will run. He gently reaches out, his hand moving to her face to wipe away a tear, a simple gesture of comfort amidst her breakdown. But her anxiety is far from over. But, right now, she stammers, unable to finish her sentence as her panic continues to mount. Zio Chen's sharp eyes dart around the backstage area, a flash of inspiration hitting him as he gazes at the large, white stage curtain hanging nearby. A moment later, he holds a neatly folded large piece of white fabric, evidently cut from the curtain itself. Got it, he declares with a hint of a smile. He then creates a makeshift changing room, holding the large piece of curtain up like a screen to shield Kinghin from view. From behind the fabric, a small swarm of shimmering orange butterflies mysteriously flutters out as she changes, adding a touch of magic to the tense moment. Now composed and no longer in tears, Kinghin peeks over the curtain, her expression soft and grateful. Zio Chen? She says his name quietly. He turns his back to her, giving her privacy as she finishes changing into a stunning, multi-layered white performance dress. No need. Zio Chen, turn around, I'll just change here. She had told him, a deep blush coloring her cheeks as she trusts him completely. His own face flushes a bright red as he stands with his back to her, a testament to his own awkwardness and respect for her. Dressed in her beautiful gown, she calls out, Zio Chen, you can turn back now. He turns to see her looking radiant and much calmer. Zio Chen, thank you, she says, a genuine smile finally gracing her lips. Maybe because I cried so much just now, I actually feel less nervous now. He gives her a supportive nod and a small smile. Go on, I hope your performance goes well. An announcer's voice booms over the speakers. Next up are contestants No, 20 Lai Chuxin and Shen Kinghin. On a brilliantly lit stage, pulsing with purple and blue lights and adorned with massive musical notes, Kinghin and her partner deliver a captivating performance. The crowd is mesmerized, and their efforts are rewarded as the announcer declares, the winner of this year's campus singer competition is Lai Chuxin and Shen Kinghin. The audience erupts in thunderous applause. Backstage, however, a janitor discovers the massive, jagged hole in the stage curtain, bellowing in rage. Who the hell cut the curtains to pieces? Meanwhile, Zio Chen observes the scene with a cool detachment, a thought appearing in his mind. Let's just call it compensation for damaging the curtains. As he thinks this, a translucent blue system window materializes before his eyes. It reads, Milestone reached. Cooperatively completed 1000 tasks, gained biological attribute, social animal. The description clarifies the new ability. Within a certain range, your combat power increases based on the number of same-species allies around you. Zio Chen processes this unexpected bonus with a flicker of interest. The victory has a profound effect on Kinghin, now affectionately called Hanhin by her peers. She is surrounded by admiring classmates, her confidence fully restored. Hanhin, you sing so well, one says, while another asks, wanna join us for karaoke after school? This newfound self-assurance stabilizes her martial arts progress as well. As for Zio Chen, his own life is a series of victories. He is hailed as a legend by his martial arts team captain and celebrated for bringing the championship trophy home to Shanghai High after a 5-year drought. He signs a lucrative sponsorship with a martial arts hall, and combining that income with money from writing novels, amasses a small fortune. A glance at his phone's banking app reveals a balance of 900,154.28 yuan. With this capital, he visits the mysterious woman in the rustic shop. We meet again, handsome Tilda, she greets him warmly. He has a new goal. That should be enough to unlock the next Beast Codex. This time, he chooses a box containing the stealth lizard, known for its exceptional stealth. Upon opening the box, a wave of vibrant blue energy, filled with crackling lightning, erupts and envelops him. A system notification confirms his success. You've absorbed a large amount of Stealth Lizard's life essence Stealth Lizard Codex, 100%. He feels a surge of new power, his body transforming momentarily into a shadowy, draconic creature wreathed in blue flames. You've successfully unlocked the Stealth Lizard Codex, gained biological attribute natural camouflage. The new skill allows him to lower his vitality to reduce his presence and mask his biological level, a perfect tool for ambushes and deception. With his new power secured, Zio Chen decides to head home, but not before buying a cake his mother had asked for. His casual stroll is abruptly interrupted. The street ahead is cordoned off by heavily armed police officers. Stay still, one of them yells. In the center of the cordon stands a group of imposing figures in advanced combat gear, surrounding a defiant-looking woman with fiery red hair. A familiar voice calls out, Zichen, what a coincidence. Zio Chen turns to see his old senior, Zhang Kai, but something is drastically different. Zhang Kai's right leg is a complex piece of cybernetic machinery. Didn't get into high school back then, Zhang Kai explains casually. So I went through a rebellious phase and rode a motorcycle, ended up crashing and had to amputate my leg. Luckily, I joined a cybernetic enhancement program by the Mecha God group. Who knew went from disabled to cyborg just like that? He points to the captured redhead. She's a remnant of the rat god cult, the only female among the 9 remnants. Xiao Chen internalizes this information, noting the efficiency of the mecha god group, a faction clearly not to be underestimated. Later, the mood shifts to one of warmth and celebration. At home, 2 families are gathered around a dinner table, celebrating the joint 18th birthday of Xiao Chen and Hanhin. A cake with lit candles sits between them. Our handsome boy and pretty girl, it's time to exchange gifts. One of the parents announces joyfully. They exchange presents, their bond evident and strong. Suddenly, the entire building lurches violently. An earthquake. Someone shouts as plates and glasses rattle. But Xiao Chen feels something is wrong, a sense of unease creeping over him. The scene then cuts deep beneath Shanghai City to a vast, dark cavern where countless pairs of menacing red eyes awaken in the gloom, a silent, subterranean threat stirring. Some time later, a news report dismisses the 4.2-magnitude earthquake as a minor, normal tremor. Life returns to a semblance of normalcy as Xiao Chen and Hanhin walk to school, the crucial college entrance exams now upon them. Before the exams, Xiao Chen uses his accumulated funds to unlock another power, the Void Eel Codex. He absorbs its essence, his form once again shifting into a powerful, ethereal beast surrounded by crackling energy. He gains the danger sense attribute, allowing him to perceive hostility and gauge the biological level of others. A quick trip to a crowded mall confirms its utility. He can now see floating tags above people's heads, identifying most as ordinary first rank. The martial arts college entrance exam is an arduous 9-day event. It starts with a written exam, followed by a physical fitness test. The next 7 days are dedicated to a grueling combat assessment in a forest, and the final day is a compatibility test for gene fusion and mechanical modification. On the morning of the first day, Hanhin is a nervous wreck again. Xiao Chen, I am so nervous. What if I wet myself again during the exam? She frets, her hands fidgeting. He reassures her with his usual calm demeanor. Don't be nervous. Your theoretical knowledge is very solid, and you've already put on your diaper, so just give it your best. His practical, if slightly embarrassing, comfort works. During the written exam, Xiao Chen finishes with ease and spends the rest of the time brainstorming plots for his novel. In the afternoon's physical test, his performance is monstrous. He lifts a 950-kilogram barbell with a single hand, his muscles bulging with power as the crowd of students and instructors watches in stunned silence. His other results are equally unbelievable. A 5.12-second 100-meter sprint and a 4.91-meter vertical jump. He's way too strong. The other students murmur in awe. When the written exam results are posted, Hanhin is thrilled to have scored an impressive 82, but Xiao Chen once again proves his exceptionalism with a perfect score of 100. The following day, the week-long combat assessment begins. As students gather before entering a vast, dense forest, a shadowy figure in a suit and fedora meets with a man who will be acting as a safety officer. When the time comes, the figure instructs, make good use of your safety officer status to help stop and control 10 geniuses. He hands the officer a box. There are 10 demonic seeds inside this box. They can lend you a helping hand. The officer, motivated by the promise of an evolution fruit, readily agrees to the sinister plan. Inside the exam area, students are already forming alliances. One particularly arrogant student, Hong Junping, who had previously tried to talk to Hanhin, attempts to join her and Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen gives him some food but flatly refuses to let him join their team. He explains to a curious Hanhin, he didn't want the food, he just wanted to talk to the beautiful girl we have here. Using his Sky Eye ability, which makes his vision glow with golden light, Xiao Chen easily spots score tokens hidden high in the treetops, guiding Hanhin to retrieve them. Their success is interrupted by the persistent Hong Junping. We meet again, he says with a smug grin. I've already collected 28 points. How about I team up with you too? Xiao Chen's response is ice cold. No need to team up. If you are truly intent on repaying our kindness, you can simply hand over all the score tokens you have. Enraged by the dismissal, Hong Junping lunges at Xiao Chen. Mate, you've just made a huge mistake, he snarls. Xiao Chen effortlessly dodges the clumsy attack and with blinding speed delivers a single precise karate chop to the back of Hong Junping's neck, knocking him out cold instantly. Don't worry, he tells a concerned Hanhin. I just hit him very lightly. The days that follow are a montage of their survival and growing bond. He teaches her to hunt wild boars with a sharpened bamboo spear. They pick and eat fruit together. They take shelter from the rain under a large leaf, and they fight back-to-back against other students who try to ambush them. They finally reach the central area, the designated mutant beast zone, only to find it eerily empty. All the powerful beasts are gone. "It's such a pity," Hanhan says, disappointed. "If we could have come earlier, you definitely would have been awarded the genius title for slaying a mutant beast." Zio Chen knows it's for the best. With cameras everywhere, he couldn't have absorbed the beast's life essence anyway. The ninth and final day arrives. The gene fusion compatibility test, held at a futuristic research institute on an island. The test involves injecting a student's blood into a reagent made from the genes of a flow cloud jellyfish, a mutant beast with high compatibility with the human body. The intensity of the chemical reaction determines the score. The students are terrified of failing and having to undergo the painful mechanical modification process to become cyborgs. As the results come in, the tension is immense. A score of 6% is passing, while 8% is excellent. Zio Chen scores a remarkable 15%, solidifying his position as the provincial top scorer. But the true shock comes when Hanhan's result is displayed, an unprecedented 21%. The news sends ripples through the provincial education headquarters. The officials are in disbelief. "Is a score like that even humanly possible?" one exclaims. This extraordinary result summons a very powerful figure. A massive wave surges towards the island, and atop it stands a graceful woman with white hair, purple horns, and an aura of immense authority. It is Yuan Dongjai, the vice principal of Shanghai University. She is there to personally verify the impossible score. After 3 more blood tests confirm Hanhan's 21% compatibility, Yuan Dongjai makes a stunning offer. "I want to take you as my disciple," she states, demonstrating her power by making water swirl and dance in the palm of her hand. Overwhelmed and intimidated, Hanhan finds herself accepting. Yuan Dongjai then reveals that Hanhan has a senior sister, her only other disciple, and shows her a photo. Hanhan gasps in shock. The girl in the photo, Luo Gangsu, is the spitting image of her long-lost elementary school friend, Bai Zhu. Yuan Dongjai dismisses it as impossible. Intrigued by Hanhan's unprecedented potential, she conducts a full-body scan but finds her physiology to be perplexingly normal, which only deepens the mystery. To protect her new prodigy from unwanted attention and danger, she decides to publicly announce Hanhan's score as 16%. The exam concludes, and the two families celebrate their children's incredible success. That night, there's a knock on Zio Chen's door. It's Hanhan, dressed in a cute nightgown, a mischievous look on her face. "Are you here to sleep with Zio Chen again?" his mother asks teasingly, hinting at their lifelong, inseparable bond, as they stand on the cusp of a new and far more dangerous world. A moment later, Hanhan, rushing into a room where a teal-haired young man, Zio Chen, is speaking with an older woman. Hanhan, now dressed in a frilly pink nightgown, interrupts with a sense of urgency, her cheeks slightly flushed as she insists she has something incredibly important to discuss with Zio Chen in person. The older woman, Aunt Zin, looks on with a knowing, slightly mischievous smile, suspecting a confession of feelings is about to happen as Hanhan declares she'll go to Zio Chen's room to talk. Hanhan, determined, pushes past and heads for his room, her expression a mixture of seriousness and shyness as she tells a waiting Zio Chen that she needs to tell him something vital. Inside his room, Zio Chen, dressed in a simple gray and blue pajama set, turns to face her, his expression calm and inquisitive as he asks what's on her mind. Hanhan, standing before him, reveals that her urgent news is about the master she acknowledged earlier that day. She explains that her new master, a powerful woman, gave her a full-body examination, but found nothing out of the ordinary, concluding that her body was completely normal. She elaborates that even the peculiar phenomenon of her body leaking water was undetectable during the examination. A striking visual shows a woman with white hair, Yuan Dongjai, standing majestically atop a raging sea, manipulating massive waves, illustrating the immense power of Hanhan's master who, despite her abilities, could not uncover the secret hidden within Hanhan's body. Zio Chen processes this information, his eyes widening slightly as he realizes Hanhan's physical makeup is far more mysterious and complex than he had ever imagined, a secret that even a master of the seas couldn't penetrate. He then becomes serious, placing a comforting hand on her shoulder as he advises her that this information must be kept a secret between them for now, warning that exposing such a unique trait could lead to unpredictable and dangerous consequences. He reassures her that they will investigate it together when they become stronger and more knowledgeable, urging patience. Hanhan, looking up at him with trusting red eyes, agrees to follow his lead. Having settled that matter, Hanhan remembers another piece of information. mentioning that her master told her she has a senior sister. She pulls out her phone to show Zio Chen a picture, explaining that when she saw the photo, her first thought was that the woman in it was their acquaintance, Bai Zhu. Zio Chen takes the phone and examines the image, which shows a white-haired woman with a powerful aura standing amidst an icy landscape, a massive, winged creature behind her. He concedes that there is a resemblance to Bai Zhu, but notes that their aura and temperament are completely different, a subtle but significant distinction. He then asks Hanhin if she knows the location where the photo was taken, a question that hangs in the air with intrigue. Hanhin admits she doesn't know and decides to ask her master. A quick shot of her phone screen shows a text conversation where she asks her master about the location, and the master replies with a cryptic answer. The origin ground. You'll know when you become stronger. Hanhin tells Zio Chen that all she could find out was the name Origin Ground, with no further details available. Deciding to table the mystery for later, a new, more personal topic arises. Hanhin, with a slight blush, shyly asks Zio Chen if all men like women who wear kipaos. Zio Chen, caught off guard but playing along, muses that it depends on the person, but adds with a slight blush of his own that if Hanhin were to wear one, she would look really good in it. Encouraged, Hanhin presses further, asking if he likes it, and then follows up by asking about his preference for stockings, black, white, or skin-colored. Zio Chen, flustered by the barrage of oddly specific questions, thinks for a moment and replies that if he had to choose, he supposes he likes black or white. Immediately after his answer, Hanhin, with a determined look, reveals she has already placed an online order for both a kipao and the stockings, leaving Zio Chen completely bewildered by the suddenness of it all. Their conversation is interrupted by a knock at the door. It's Aunt Zin, holding a bag of toiletries, announcing that Hanhin's mother had just dropped them off, having decided that Hanhin would be sleeping over tonight. Hanhin is mortified, exclaiming that she never asked for this, and questioning how her mother could make such a decision on her own. Aunt Zin, however, simply winks and says it's perfectly fine for two adults to stay up late together before leaving them to their own devices. Left with no other choice, Hanhin sighs in resignation, muttering that she'll just change her diaper and go to bed. She opens the bag her mother packed, but her expression turns to one of pure shock and horror as she pulls out not toiletries, but a small golden foil packet. It's a box of ultra-thin condoms. A wave of crimson washes over her face as she lets out a piercing scream, utterly embarrassed and confused as to why her mother would pack such an item. In her panicked state, she flings the box away and announces frantically that she's going to go change her diaper now, rushing out of the room and leaving a stunned Zio Chen staring after her, completely baffled by the chaotic turn of events. The scene then shifts to the next day, where Zio Chen and Hanhin are on a bicycle, heading to a promotional event at their martial arts school. Zio Chen tells Hanhin, who is sitting behind him in a school uniform, to hold on tighter as they ride through the bustling city streets. However, their path is soon blocked by a group of men dressed in traditional, flowing black and gold robes, exuding an air of solemn authority. One of them, a stout, bearded man with a stern expression, steps forward and addresses Zio Chen directly, asking if he is student Lin Zichen. Zio Chen, wary, asks who they are. The man introduces himself as Liu Chuanwu, the dean of Shanghai University's Martial Arts College. He clarifies that he is there on behalf of the Tianren Pavilion, a conservative organization known for its opposition to gene fusion and mechanical modification, a group that has become a hot topic online for what many criticize as misleading the younger generation. Dean Liu formally invites Zio Chen to join the Tianren Pavilion, asking for a moment of his time to talk. He even offers a brand new iPhone as an incentive to hear him out. Zio Chen and Hanhin are led to a nearby cafe where Dean Liu begins his pitch. He explains that the Tianren Pavilion researches methods to unlock the full potential of pure-blooded humans without relying on external modifications like gene fusion. Their ultimate goal is to break the limitations of the ordinary level and evolve into advanced or even legendary beings. To prove his point, he shows Zio Chen a video on his tablet. The video features a man whom Zio Chen immediately recognizes with a jolt of surprise. Wu Tiancheng, the famous individual who single-handedly wiped out the rat god cult. In the video, Wu Tiancheng, a pure-blooded human with an ordinary 9th-rank biological level, is shown effortlessly overpowering a high-level gene fusioner who has transformed into a monstrous bird-like creature. Wu Tiancheng unleashes a devastating attack of sharp, black feathers that rain down upon his opponent, shredding through his defenses and leaving him bloodied and defeated on the ground. The video ends with a powerful statement. The human body is already unrivaled. Why rely on the bodies of other races? Pure-blooded humans who train with body-tempering techniques are the real future of humanity. Xiao Chen, skeptical, asks if the video is fake or edited. Dean Liu assures him it's completely authentic and invites him to witness future challenges in person. When Xiao Chen questions why they don't post such compelling evidence online to promote their cause, the dean explains with a sigh that the current authorities suppress their message, believing that there is no future without raising biological levels through fusion. He argues that without widespread promotion and more people joining their research, achieving a breakthrough is incredibly difficult. He then looks at Xiao Chen with intense passion, stating that a genius like him wouldn't end up stuck at the ordinary rank for 50 years like he has, but would surely evolve into a high-level being. Xiao Chen notes that the dean looks to be in his 50s, but Liu Chuanwu reveals a shocking truth. He is actually almost 100 years old, and his youthful appearance is entirely thanks to the body-tempering technique. To verify this, Xiao Chen discreetly looks up the dean's information on the Kaiandu Encyclopedia, which confirms his birth year as 1929, making him nearly a century old. This revelation solidifies the claim that the technique can extend one's lifespan. The encyclopedia entry also reveals a tragic backstory. The dean's prestigious martial arts family fell into decline when they refused gene fusion, and his own wife and children abandoned him for the same reason. Xiao Chen then discovers another shocking connection. Dean Liu Chuanwu's ex-wife is none other than Yuan Dongjai, Hanhan's new master. The profiles for their son and daughter are grayed out, implying they are deceased, adding another layer of tragedy and complexity to the dean's character. Back at the table, Dean Liu continues his impassioned speech, arguing that gene fusion and mechanical modification are dead ends because they rely on the power of mutant beasts and can never surpass them. He posits that the Tianren Pavilion's path, focusing on the inherent potential of the human body, is the only true way forward for humanity. He clarifies that they don't oppose the other paths entirely, but see them as early-stage tools while the true long-term solution is researched. He sincerely invites Xiao Chen to join them and work for the future of humanity. Xiao Chen then asks for a concrete explanation of the body-tempering technique. The dean explains it's a method called the blood-tempering technique, found in ancient ruins. It uses one's own Kai and blood to refine the body, strengthen the flesh, and increase combat power. Ancient records claim that at its highest level, the technique grants a sanctified body capable of incredible feats, like flight and shattering mountains. He stresses that this technique can only be cultivated by pure-blooded humans, as gene fusioners have impure blood and cyborgs have incomplete bodies that prevent proper Kai circulation. After hearing the detailed explanation, Xiao Chen says he needs more time to think, as he still knows too little about the path of pure-blooded humans. The dean, persistent, leans in and tells Xiao Chen that from their perspective, the provincial top scorer with a mere 16% gene fusion compatibility is utterly insignificant compared to him, a statement that causes Hanhan, the very person he's describing, to choke on her milk tea. The awkwardness is palpable as Hanhan realizes she has been insulted to her face. Dean Liu, oblivious, continues to praise Xiao Chen, calling him the true top scorer of the province and promising he will crush the other student in the future. Hanhan looks utterly bewildered, wondering how she got dragged into the conversation. The situation becomes even more comical when the dean finally notices her, and Xiao Chen has to point out that she is the provincial top scorer he was just belittling. The dean freezes, a bead of sweat rolling down his face as he offers a sheepish ha-ha. Hello. Seeing an opportunity to escape, Xiao Chen thanks the dean for the tea and the phone and tries to leave. Desperate, the dean begs him to just try joining for 6 months. He then makes a wild offer. Whatever benefits the Evolution College gives him, the Tianren Pavilion will give him double. As Xiao Chen continues to walk away, the dean shouts after him, "If double isn't enough, we'll give you triple." This finally stops Xiao Chen in his tracks. With a dramatic turn, a wide smile spreads across his face as he declares that he has always admired the ideals of the Tianren Pavilion and has decided to bring his talent to their cause to contribute to the future of pure-blooded humans. The dean's associates look horrified, whispering about how much money this will cost them. Now officially on board, Xiao Chen asks the dean if he knows about the origin land. The dean is shocked that Xiao Chen is aware of such a place, explaining that it's believed to be the origin of all life, where all mutant beasts originated from. Zio Chen deduces that the picture of Hanhan's senior sister wasn't a photograph but a realistic painting, since electronic devices don't work in the origin land. Their meeting is cut short by a call from the martial arts hall, reminding them the event is starting soon. As they prepare to leave, the dean hands Zio Chen a translated manual for the blood-refining technique, explaining there's a threshold. One must be at least an ordinary tier stage 4 to begin cultivation. He notes that based on Zio Chen's physical test data, he's already close. However, Zio Chen surprises him by revealing he's already at ordinary tier stage 6 and will start training as soon as he gets back. Later, back in his room, Zio Chen sits on his bed and begins to practice. He finds that sensing his Kai and blood is incredibly easy, taking him only 3 seconds. He then proceeds to the next step, controlling his Kai and blood to refine his body, starting with his right arm. A system-like notification appears, stating skin durability +1, blood refining technique proficiency +1. After half an hour, he tests the result, running a sharp blade against his refined arm, which remains completely uncut. He marvels at the technique's effectiveness, realizing how Liu Chuanwu could withstand Wu Tiancheng's attacks. After 3 hours, he has refined the skin on both arms, consuming about a third of his Kai and blood. He calculates that at this rate, he can refine all the skin on his body in under a week. Late that night, he receives a message from Hanhan asking if he's asleep. She tells him she has a surprise and asks him to come to her room. Curious, he goes to her room where he finds her sitting up in bed, completely wrapped in a white blanket, only her head visible. With a deep blush on her face, she tells him the surprise she prepared is for him. He asks why she's wrapped in a blanket, a suspicious thought crossing his mind. She simply tells him to lift the blanket and see for himself, her expression a mix of nervousness and anticipation. Zio Chen reaches for the corner of the blanket, his own face blushing as he prepares to uncover the surprise she has waiting for him beneath the sheets.